Hey, and welcome to the channel and welcome to the new show. First and foremost, thank you guys for tuning in and joining us here on this new adventure Nick Off Duty presents. I plan to bring you guys a good mixture of law enforcement eccentric guests. As you hear, we're having some Miami Dade Sheriff candidates come on and kind of make their case along with comedians. So I want to have a good mixture of guests. If you guys have any suggestions, please put it down in the comments below as to who you want to see be featured on the show, and I'll do my best to get them here. With that, as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in, constantly supporting me throughout my career, both in law enforcement and throughout this social media adventure that I'm on. As you can see behind me, I have my YouTube plaques, and none of that would have been possible without the help of you guys tuning in and subscribing. So I appreciate your support throughout the years, and I will continue to try to evolve, get better, and bring you guys entertaining, informational content. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please help a brother out and subscribe. I got a lot of new exciting things happening. Got a lot of projects working. I'm going to be bringing it to you all very soon. But for now, I just wanted to take that time out and thank you guys and let you know that we're not stopping here. It's just going to keep getting better and better and better. All right, let's get back to the show. Yeah, this is history. By the way, thanks for coming on.
Oh, no, thank you, Nick.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, here we go. History. History in the making. Dun, dun, dun. Do you know this guy? Hold on. Hold on. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, boy.
It's me jumping into a canal.
Yeah. Was that, you did that on duty?
No.
Oh. Bro, what's going on here? Oh, here it comes. Okay, boom. There it is. There. You know this guy?
Yeah, he's an actor. I remember him.
Yeah. Come on, man. What movie? Come on, man. Come on. Look over here. Let me help you. C. What are you doing, C?
Oh.
Come on.
Got it.
You're from that. You're from that area in the Northeast. Come on.
Jersey?
Close to
Patterson?
it. No.
New York?
He's in a lot of movies, but he's
been in a lot of movies. Yeah, I don't know his name. I'm bad with movie actor names.
Oh, okay. Well, my favorite. I don't know his name either.
Come on, Nick. What's his name?
His name is Sonny. From The Bronx Tale. You ever seen a Bronx
Tale?
There
yes.
you go. All right. So look, I was driving in this morning. Okay. And before we even start the show, I want to play this video because this to me was like perfect because this is something new. But so listen what he says here.
It doesn't matter where you are in life. It really doesn't, because the great thing about life is it's always your next move. Your next move that counts. No matter where you are. You could be, look, I was dead broke. My electric bill was being shut off. And there were people even like worse off than I was. It doesn't matter. You could change your life if you want to. It's always your next decision. So it's up to you.
What do you think?
Yeah, man, I completely agree.
Right?
I agree with it 100%.
I thought it was fitting for this occasion here, which is the very first episode of Nick Off Duty Presents, and boom, there it is. Look at that.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, so hold on one second. I'm going to put this back down. And let's get the show started.
Yeah, buddy.
Welcome to Nick Off Duty Presents! I didn't tell you about that part.
No, you didn't.
Oh, my goodness, man. Welcome to the very first episode of the show.
Thank you, Nick. Truly appreciate it.
Yeah, so what do you think? Take a look. I want you to take a look around the studio. Been here about for like 20 minutes now, so
yeah, man, it's
tell
good.
me what you
I
think.
love it. It's a great setup.
Yeah.
Love the patriotism.
Right
love the American flag behind me.
Yeah, America.
America.
Love
all
it.
about that.
All right.
Too many people in this country right now are not supportive of our beliefs and our ideology.
But here on Nick Off Duty Presents, it's about America.
America. I love it.
What about this fine table?
No, it's good.
we
The
got here?
details. It's nice. I love it.
Yeah, just made it yesterday.
Oh, it's great. Let me guess what's under here.
Yeah, it's like you ever gone to a play and then like you just push the wall down and it falls down? Yeah, so this is just a table topper.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a picnic table underneath.
It looks great. They're never going to know. Like
now
they
they do.
They never know.
First episode, boom! I gave him my magic trick right off the back.
There you go.
What about the logo there? I feel like it might get wild in here. It's like jungle. You know?
It could get wild, man.
Yeah.
If people are honest.
That's right. Oh, I feel there's going to be some honesty here in today's show.
Yes, sir, always.
So, very fitting, I believe, for what we're doing here today, for me, myself, and what I'm doing, but also for you. And if you don't know who's sitting across from me, I want to welcome to the show Orlando Lopez, a.k.a. Orly.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
So, Orly, that's what we're calling you for the rest of the show.
Yeah, man.
So I just wanted to make sure that you guys understood Orlando Lopez, but he's Orly from now on.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're special to the show because you're a part of Miami Dade history that's taking place as we're talking right now.
Yes, sir.
First, how many years? For 60 plus years, right?
About 60 plus years.
In 60 plus years, there hasn't been. Sorry,
Yeah.
there hasn't been an elected sheriff in Miami-Dade County, and Orly across from me here said he took his name and he put it in the hat and he says, "I'm in."
100%.
So you want to tell me a little bit how the race is going so far?
Well, so far for me, from my perspective, it's a very biased question because different people will say that they're on top or they have more publicity than others. I know me, I'm self-funded right now. I do accept donations, but the media has said that I'm ranked either 4 or 5 based on funds that I've brought in, and it's my own money. I've had a good number of donations too, but I tell people it's hard. It's hard for me to stomach to tell them, hey, listen, donate to my campaign. Give me $300.
Yeah.
It's rough in this current economic country that we're in.
Yeah, I agree.
This Biden economics, it's really rough. And that makes a difference between someone paying their bills, mortgage, their insurance. And here in Miami, you know how expensive our insurance is, and it just went up. So
Yeah, but I think what if we get 300 people to donate $1? Huh?
oh, there you go. And if they'd like to, it's at orlyforsheriff.com.
There it is. Hey, don't have no shame in the game, baby. I want you to put it out there to the listeners.
Thank you.
So they know where to go, so to help you with this campaign, man, because we're going to talk a little bit about what you stand for, what your plan is for the Miami-Dade County Sheriffs Department. That's going to be weird, right?
It's going to be different.
Right? No more police.
Yeah. We've had identity issues before they made it an identity thing.
True. The badge with the little star in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You wore a cowboy hat not too recently ago.
No, that's the guy that was next to me.
Oh, you said you were – okay, so you said you were next to the guy in the cowboy.
I was next to him.
Okay, you mentioned something about a cowboy hat, so I was like, you wearing
Nah,
a cowboy?
not me, man.
Taking that sheriff thing like –
Yeah, no, I'm not wearing the cowboy hat.
but you are wearing the boots with the spurs on them as you came in. Ching,
Boots with the
ching,
spur,
ching.
yeah. It's that confidence that I carry.
I'm just kidding. All right. So I want to get to know you a little bit, what your background, talk about some of the stuff you've done at the agency, and then we can go into you as the future sheriff of Miami-Dade County.
Cool, man.
You want to do that?
Yeah, man, let's go.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, where'd you start from?
So I am from Patterson, New Jersey. I was born there. Lasted about 7 years until my dad went and found a better opportunity down here in Florida. So I was lived in Fort Lauderdale for a little while, but that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
Once I came down to Miami, I grew up in West Kendall, literally. Went to Bowman Foster Ash, Howard Doolin, and then I graduated from Braddock Senior High, the Bulldogs. A lot of people, yeah.
People are going to like the Bulldogs.
Yeah, it's a good school. And believe it or not, right before I got into high school, my mom was all freaked out because there was a shooting that had occurred in Braddock, and it was about 99 or 98 that occurred. So she was freaked out, but like anything else, things went forward. I graduated with no problems. So
What year was that?
when I graduated?
Yeah.
I graduated in 2003.
Oh, all right, okay.
Yeah.
And you recently just had a birthday.
Yes, I did. As recent as a few days ago.
That's right. Well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that.
All right. I ordered your gift in Amazon. It's not here yet, though.
Nah, thanks, man.
I don't have the primes.
Nah, the primes. Nah, this is a good gift enough, man.
Okay.
Being able to be talking with you is enough.
Yeah, man. I want to give you an opportunity to talk to the audience. Get out that message. I think it's important that this is the first time in history, like I said, that we're having a sheriff elected in Miami-Dade County, and I want to give the opportunity for folks to come on and just say, hey, this is who I am, to my audience. And if you guys, like he said, if you feel the need or you're like, man, I'm jiving with what he's saying, go to his website. Again, give it to them.
It's orlyforsheriff.com, ORLY for sheriff.com.
Okay, so to now get into the law enforcement career.
Yep. So once I graduated high school, I had a couple jobs prior, only like two. I think I worked at Banana Republic and then an insurance company for a couple of years. Assurant, which is down south, no longer there. It used to be a big.
Yeah. I'm
American
sure.
Bankers.
I
Turnpike 184. Some people know it from that area.
They'll know. They'll be like,
know.
oh, yeah, I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, that big old building that's there.
Yeah.
On the west side. So yeah, after working those two jobs, I had an incident in my family that motivated me to get into law enforcement. So I applied at the age of 19 years old, and I got in. By the time I was 20 years old, I was on the mean streets of Miami Dade County patrolling.
Man, and so at 19 years old, you decided to become a police officer.
Yes, sir, I did.
Right? And then at 20, which is, again, I got on at 23, so it's kind of the same, 3 years is not a big deal, but you weren't even allowed to drink yet.
No, I couldn't even drink. I couldn't even buy my own gun. My dad had to buy it for me.
See, is that something like weird to you? Like you couldn't, at the time, probably not. At the time, you're like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
No, but then it makes me think of the things that are going on in today's day and age where they're trying to encourage certain things where, I don't know, a child could decide to have a surgery.
Yeah.
And they can't even buy a gun or a pack of cigarettes.
That's true, too.
Yeah.
So,
but let's not get into that right now.
we this is the first 10 minutes of the
right?
podcast. And this is the first and last episode of Nick Off Duty Presents. I don't mind. We can get into whatever you want to get into, No. By all means. My doors are open. My audience is open. They want to hear the real deal.
No, of course. Honesty.
Yeah. So, but how do you feel about that? Think about now. Obviously, older than 20. And we're not going to give away your age, but if you're at home, you have time to write down that graduation date, write it down, subtract it, do all the math, and you'll be able to find out. Do you want to say how old you are?
Yeah, man. I'm 39 years old. I'm proud.
30?
I'm the youngest candidate that's out here.
That's what I was going to say. And you know what? And I'm not putting down any other candidates, but when you look at the presidential race, man, I think we need to have young, like these guys are what's going on right now. But looking ahead to the next presidential race, I think it's time for somebody young to step up, man. And if it's here at a local level, I think we need to move forward.
I think society wants that.
Yeah.
I think they're ready for new ideas, new ideology, new approaches on different concerns that we have. Because when you continue doing the old practices, it's not with the current times. So we have to adjust and adapt as a community.
I think
and society.
I think that, and not because I'm living the age, right? Because I'm around that age. We have a good grasp on the old school and the new school.
Yes.
Like I think we're right there in the middle.
We bridge the gap.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
Because you can work a computer, you can work your phone. You don't have that. I don't see you with glasses. You don't have the glasses with the giant icons, and you're hitting the thing and hey, Siri, and they don't. You know what I mean? So I think we're tech savvy. We can relate to the old school because we're kind of there now.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I'm 41. So
okay, we're right there. We're the same.
So we were there at the old school, but we also understand the new school and what look, we're doing a podcast.
Of course. This is all new school to me.
Right?
Of course.
So I think there's a sweet spot there. So looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have and some of the topics that we're going to talk about. So 20 years old, you became a police officer, and then you went and tell me a little bit the rest of your career.
So once I graduated the academy, I ended up going to Cutler Ridge District.
Okay.
Because I was taught by people that said, if you want to be a police officer, you go to districts like Northside and Cutler Ridge. But if you want to go places and be a cop, you go work areas like Kendall or other districts that don't have that much violent crime or whatnot. So I ended up going down to the mean streets of Cutler Ridge, which literally taught me a lot. Within the first few months, I had encountered so many different individuals, very memorable moments, and then I stayed there for about 4.5 years, meaning I worked Naranja, Cutler Bay area, West Perrine, Pinecrest.
No,
not Pinecrest.
They're not the hood.
No. The Pinecrest Bakery, but
well, I was going to tell you,
Princeton, sorry, that's what it was.
Can you just kind of give a description of some of the crimes and things that would happen in those areas? Maybe somebody's not from that area listening.
Oh, no, of course. So a lot of times down south, or it happens across the county, but the primary calls that would occur down there, because there was a lot of new construction back in 2006, 2007 off Alapata, and then I'll have people argue with me. They're like, Alapata on the north end? I'm like, no, there's an Alapata down south, which is 112th Avenue.
Did not know that.
Ah,
There you go.
So 112th Avenue, a lot of new construction and a lot of houses. And a lot of the developers would show, oh, come move down here to these beautiful areas. So a lot of people were coming down here. Little did they know that it was a little bit of a rough neighborhood around.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of burglaries would occur, burglaries to vehicles, robberies, shootings, stabbings, and that's rough for a neighborhood.
Yeah.
But there was the belief that we can better these neighborhoods, that we can proactively go forward and change. And they have. If you look at down south now, totally different from over 20 years ago. And that's amazing because that just goes to show that we can make a difference together.
What do you think is some of the proponents that help those communities change?
It's community leaders.
Yeah.
Community leaders advocating for the areas, having county dollars be used correctly, and being able to have investors, big builders come down and build those areas up. I still live down south. I live out in the Redlands. So I see the development of my neighborhood since for a long time.
Yeah.
So, but besides that part, so that we can go back to the history, how I got out there.
Yeah.
Grew up in Kendall.
Yeah.
By the age of 23, I bought my first house, and that was in Cutler Bay.
Okay.
Because I was like, you know what? I need to live on my own. I'm a grown adult. I need to get out. I need to do my things. And obviously, the economics of back then are not what the economics of today are.
Yeah, it's rough.
It is rough. I feel bad. I have officers that tell me, I make about $70,000. I got approved for $300,000. I can't even buy a house.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts. $1 million is like you need $1 million to buy a house.
Yeah.
How can
Who has $1 million?
I'm we have aspiring. Well, the podcast usually has aspiring police officers, people looking to get into the law enforcement career, and they're like, man, I want to do this. I want to better my community, and then the salary. And then now, how am I going to get a house? How am I going to start a family? How can I do all this stuff? Because the houses are like $1 million. And I don't know how these kids, and I say kids because I'm 41 now, and I can say kids. But how these younger folks are going to afford this stuff?
100%.
Nuts. So when you become sheriff, $1 million everyone gets paid $1 million.
Everyone's gonna make $1 million. No, but there will be an evaluation of our pay rates because in Miami-Dade, I'm not sure if that happened with other agencies, but I'm sure it did. We're not making what we're supposed to.
Yeah,
our pay rates are incorrect. There's been years, even till this current contract that we just signed, we're not making the amount of money we're supposed to.
Yeah,
now we're on year number 4 that we have not gotten a proper raise. But of course, it doesn't affect them. When I say them, downtown, they don't care. To them, it's just, oh, let's save. Who cares? Now they're transitioning. Let the sheriff deal with it.
I made $23 and we got pay cuts at one point early in my career, and for 7 years, I made like $23 and change.
Oof.
You could get a job at Target right now for like $23 an hour. That's what I mean, I'm not saying that's where we're at now. Obviously, I make a lot more than that.
No, of course.
It just shows that like Target and everyone else is not industry, but everybody else is raising their rates and how much they get paid to attract people that want to work for them. So law enforcement, I think, needs to take a look at that.
They do. They need to 100%.
Yeah.
I'm the sheriff. I can promise you this. I will be reevaluating that because my biggest thing, you should never be working for free, and you should be paid your worth. Yeah. Because a lot of times that doesn't occur. And me personally, from some of my employees that I had, the cost of living and what is being paid across the nation isn't equivalent to some of the jobs that we have. And I'm talking now about our civilians. We have civilians that literally have left our agency because they wouldn't do an evaluation of their pay rates. And it was unfair to have somebody try to survive off $27,000, $26,000 a year. What is that? Yeah. It's unreasonable, and I'm not for that. I'm about the people because we the people need to get paid. And it's as simple as that. And
if you don't pay them the amount of money needed to have in order to live in that area, then your police department and the people that work there, they're going to move out of that area.
Of course.
And even though there's reasons why I don't like to live where I work. Because my car's out there, then I'm always on duty, and if I go shopping with my kids, I see them. But it is good to have the police that patrol your area with squad cars parked in neighborhoods.
Always.
Right? It's
100%.
It's perception. It shows that there's a high visibility of police officers in the area. So if I'm a bad guy and I'm looking around a neighborhood looking to break into cars and I see a couple Miami-Dade police cars, I'm like, whoa, I don't want to be around this area. So it's good to have officers. So if you're not paying them enough that they could afford to move into your neighborhoods, they're going to move somewhere else.
100%, man.
And
And that happens. That's unfortunate. I know when I bought my second house, the builder was like, I'm so glad you're a police officer because that helps us with our sales, just how you were saying.
Yeah.
Because literally having the marked unit brings that sense of like, wow, if the police lives here, that is good. And like anything else, everybody's situation is different because there's officers that live in other areas. And listen, there's good people and bad people in all areas.
Yeah.
Just across it, well, I can't get too many details of that. There's incidents that occur.
Yeah.
And those incidents, you just have to take them case by case, and you go from there. So
Yeah, well, I'm a fan of paying the officers more. I'm not running for sheriff, so I can say that, but you are, and you're saying you're going to reevaluate that and take a look into that.
You could quote me on that. You could copy that clip. There will be a thorough evaluation of all of our pay rates.
All right, take that to the bank, literally.
Literally.
So what else? So tell me, you started your career there.
Yep.
What else did you do in your career?
So I did 4.5 years in Cutler Ridge District, and after that, we went into a brand new formulated unit called SPORT, which stood for Strategic Policing Operations Response Team, which is what people know now as PRT.
Okay,
But
priority response.
The priority response team.
Okay.
So back then, we did what they were doing, but we did it at a different level. We handled calls for service. We were dealing because for those of you that live in the Hammocks district or the Hammocks area, the call volume there is just so high because there's so many residents that live there. And sometimes people will be waiting an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to get a police officer just to go handle a neighbor dispute or a crime that occurred. When this unit was created, the idea was to hit the hot target areas or the high priority areas and to also clear up those calls for service. So it's pretty much a floating platoon.
Yeah.
We would get phone calls or the lieutenant would get a phone call and they're like, hey, we're 30 calls deep. We would show up 30 man strong. Next thing you know, all those calls gone.
So and I wanna just touch real quick because people might be saying 2 hours for what's going on. So just so we can really quickly just explain the way it works, right? So it goes priority of calls, right?
Yes.
So I mean, maybe you can explain your agency's priority of calls. Like the higher the priority, if it's a ag assault or something where it harms.
Yeah, if there's something not harm's way, bodily harm that could occur or injuries that have already occurred. If injuries have already occurred, they're going to respond on a 3, which is an emergency mode, or a 2, same thing, but it's just depending on the speed the officers are going to get there. But a 2 being that there's the potentiality of harm occurring. 3 is harm has already occurred, injuries are already there, you need to get there.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of times those are the type of the calls that take precedence.
Yeah.
Because you want to mitigate violence, you want to mitigate harm.
Yeah.
So
if somebody stole a bike or something that goes and it was yesterday and you came home and you see, oh man, my bike is gone.
Yeah.
I need to call and make a report. That goes on the priority list, obviously. If someone's getting punched or hurt or stabbed, they're going to get responded to first.
Of course.
So while that one sits there in queue,
Yep.
officers go there, handle it, there might be another priority call that comes out, especially if you're in a high volume area.
Yes.
And that gets put above the bike.
Yes, sir.
So on and so forth. So if there's a lot of high priorities, that bike is going to sit there for 2-3 hours. So I just want to if those listening, and you said it, and I always try to listen for the listener, and they might be like, wow.
No, yeah, of course. And there's a lot of things that even back then, prior to me running for sheriff, the agency, Miami Dade, and just so we're out there, this is the official message. Anything that I say here is not a representation of my agency. This is just me, Orly, as the candidate, has nothing to do with my department.
All
so
right.
there's my little
Okay, I like it. Disclaimer.
The disclaimer.
Probably should have said that up front.
Yeah, I just did. So the agency did implement at one point, and it's still there, but the general public doesn't know about that because we fail on a lot of providing information. A lot of those incidents that don't require an actual police officer to go could get reported online. We have an online reporting system where individuals can put in their information and get these reports generated and done. Back then, when the cell phones I lost my cell phone or somebody stole it.
Yeah.
The insurance companies or the companies just want the case number.
Yeah.
So it's a simple thing that you could literally either call in your local district station and they could help you out, or you go online, you fill out the information, and the next thing you know, your report is done. But a lot of times people just call 911 or the 3054 police, and it's a non-emergency, and they just wait and wait. And those are things that, by educating, that is a big thing in my campaign, education. You got to educate people so that they know.
Social media.
Social media is a big aspect.
I'm a big proponent of social media.
I love social media.
I think it's huge. I think agencies need to be on top of that.
100%. No, not a jab at ours, but I want to say the city of Miami has a great social media team.
I don't know who those guys are, but I heard they're good.
I said it, not you.
All good. Yeah, no, I'm a big proponent of social media for all departments, and you don't need anything special. You just need to be on there.
Of course.
Yeah.
One of the things, so we'll get to that in a minute, but one of my other assignments that I have within my agency is I was designated the first LGBTQ liaison. Mm-hmm. And what is that role? It's like, I deal with the alphabet group. So it's one of those where, but what are you really doing? So my whole thing was get ahead of things. Yeah. Because a lot of times if you don't get ahead, a different story comes up. Oh, this occurred or that occurred. Yeah. But if you don't have the information to be able to, hey, no, these are the actual facts that occurred. Yeah. We've had multiple incidents like that occurred, and we got ahead of it because with our partners within corrections and fire, we were able to get ahead of a story and defuse it immediately, and it works out.
Isn't that funny how that works? If the news can't spin it, they leave it alone. Mm-hmm. Because the moment you come forward with whatever information that you have, then they're like, we can't do anything with this. Yeah. It's the horse's mouth. You cannot beat the horse's mouth.
Of course.
So going back, you want to explain the LGBTQ liaison and some of the roles that you have?
Yeah, I'll get to that
and later on?
In a little bit.
Okay, so
back
what
to
else?
Cutler Ridge.
Let's bring it back.
Bring it back.
Timeline. Boom.
Now I'm in sport.
Yeah.
Worked that unit for now I have 4 years on the department, or 5, working all over the county, which was a blessing because that unit, I could literally say I have worked every area of this county. I've worked all the way in Intercoastal, North Side, Northwest, Cutler Ridge, Kendall, Hammocks, all the districts, everywhere, except the airport. But we did have some calls there and whatnot, and the port around those areas.
Airport's a little hood nowadays now.
Yeah, apparently.
every other day, Orly and Dade. Every other day, people are going crazy. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but you got to give props to Orly and Dade. They're faster than some places.
No, that's
some outlets.
And I don't want to deter. Let's go to stay on your timeline.
Yeah, of course.
But the last thing I'll say about that is that the news is dying because by the time they run their news at 4 or 5, it's been out since 11. But go ahead.
And that's live action.
Yeah, baby.
So worked all the areas and then had a little bit of a downfall with certain supervisors. And I noticed that no matter what we did, it was never enough. We didn't bring enough guns in. We didn't bring enough drugs in. And it was always this negativity, which I wasn't a component of. I wasn't a fan of. I was like, wow, you're literally demoralizing us. So I said, no problem. I'll get promoted. Took my test, got promoted.
And I love that. I love that. It's like, no problem. Exactly what you said. You got a problem, don't cry about it. Do something about it.
Of course.
And what are you doing about it? If it's your sergeant that's a problem or your supervisor, then you become a supervisor.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And then you become sheriff. And then that's it.
And that's it. Next thing you know, I'm a Gregory Tony.
Hey, shout out to Gregory Tony. By the way, I don't want to give any other details out, but he will be joining us on the podcast.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to ask him to give some advice.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. So anyways, moving on.
Yep.
So you became
sergeant. I became a sergeant.
So now what? What do you do now?
So funny enough,
when
I had the downfall with these supervisors, they sent me to Northside.
Yeah.
So I was working the North End, right there, side by side with the city, 17th Ave, 7th Ave, all over the place. I had a great time there. Yeah. I worked midnights, and I was happy. And most people were like, how are you happy? I'm like, I'm just a happy person. Listen, I take everything with a grain of salt, and I always see the positive in whatever negative that's occurring. Yeah. So worked that area, and then the next thing you know, I was transferred to Midwest. Get to Midwest, which is the Doral area. Had a great time there as well. Was very proactive, arresting people, doing my thing, or let me say it correctly, enforcing the law, not just randomly arresting.
Right. No, well, you're enforcing laws, and
you're enforcing the law. Things were occurring.
Yeah,
but it was a different approach because it was always like, "Hey, would you like cafecito, officer?" Or would you? I was like, "Oh wow, it's nice."
Yeah,
it was really good. Left that area, and they brought me back to the unit. So I went back into sport, and then from sport, I got promoted. So when I got promoted, they sent me back to Midwest. I was like, I can't get away from certain
So you got
areas.
promoted twice?
No.
Oh,
This is right before my promotion.
oh, okay, I got you.
It was this little things that occurred for assignment-wise. And when I got sent back to Midwest and Midnights, did my thing over there. I lasted about 6 months there, and then they saw my work ethic. They saw how I was accomplishing things, and they sent me to Hammocks. So when I was working in Hammocks District, same thing. They noticed how well I would handle my units or my squads, that the command staff would ask me, hey, can you come over here? We're having problems with some of the senior people or whatever else. And I would motivate them, because as a supervisor, you should be motivating your guys.
Absolutely.
And I would never ask my guys to do anything I wouldn't do myself. And I was like, listen, this is fun. You have 8 hours in a day to be able to do this job. It's fun to run around and turn the lights on and do your thing. It's like,
Yeah.
that's what it is to be a police officer.
Yeah, you're getting paid to do that.
You're getting paid to do this.
I used to play it all the time on my bikes. You know, chase my brother around.
No, of course. And you want to do things with common sense.
Yes.
You don't ever want to do anything with malice or whatnot,
Yeah.
because that's not right. So now I'm patrolling the area or supervising the area that I grew up in. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. So many calls for service.
Yeah.
But that squad that was having problems fixed the problem completely. So then I started having problems. Little problems, but it wasn't with my personnel or the community. It was other supervisors.
Uh-oh.
And it's always, and it's still even to this day, because of my age, the way that I carry myself, individuals would be like, oh, but I've been a gold badge a lot longer than you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, your badge is still as gold as mine.
Yeah.
So it was an intimidation thing,
Yeah.
where I threatened them because it's the age. A younger individual that can outdo someone that has a little more tenure, they look bad. So it's like, and I wasn't doing anything on purpose. It was just the way that I was handling my business.
Yeah.
And what I was doing was my job.
Your business affects my business. You know? You're doing too much. Slow it down.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it was.
I know how that goes. Yeah, and I definitely, and I always say this, but Delrich Moss, Ferguson, former Ferguson police chief, he was major with us, and now he's at Miramar police chief. He said two things that cops hate in this world is when things change and when things stay the same.
Yes.
That means they're salty all the time. It doesn't matter. So that guy is the example of that. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, slow down.
Slow down.
Yeah. So go ahead.
So like anything else, you have to sometimes confront these individuals, and I did.
Yeah.
And what pissed them off even more was, hey, the lieutenant when he would be off would make me acting lieutenant. So now I oversaw the salty guys, which was funny, but in an essence, I didn't care, because my reputation, the way that I carried myself, it just demonstrated the level of professionalism, and the way that I knew what to do. Sometimes things are as simple as you can make an incident that's this big, bigger, or you can mitigate it and keep it
right there
and handle it.
Yeah.
And sometimes these guys blow things out of proportion, and it goes back to lack of training, lack of knowledge, and things that could have been addressed prior to but never were.
Yeah.
Because we all have them. There's problem children everywhere, but nobody addresses it. So anyway, had my time there. My guys loved me, and when I broke the news to them, I was like, listen, I'm getting transferred, because I decided to go to Palmetto Bay. I interviewed, did well, and the village of Palmetto Bay was like, we want you. So I went to Palmetto Bay.
Can I ask you, because I'm interested in that? How does, because as a county, you have different, almost like cities that are
the municipalities or the contracted ones.
Yeah, they're like, are they unincorporated, or they're like, or Miami Lakes is one.
The town of Miami Lakes.
Right. So you have to interview to go there, or is it like a transfer list and you could just put in for that?
You could interview. The normal protocol would be to interview,
Yeah.
but in reality, they select who they want to go into those areas.
Okay.
Because they give that authority to the cities.
I was going to ask you. So there's like the board of the commissioners
The board of not their
town,
councils.
Councils, there it is.
Their councils and their mayor, their city manager. Usually, they allow who they select. Hey, yeah, we want this major. No, we don't. And it's approved through our chain. And they're like, yes, if this is who you want, that's who you're going to get. And things go forward like that.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
you have to interview in front of them, send in a video?
No. Just primarily the chain of command that's there, the
Yeah.
major that's assigned, the lieutenant, whatever, whoever it is.
Okay.
And then they make that determination, because they trust their council or their city manager, mayor, trust in whoever they have placed there.
So it's like a chief. They're putting
chief,
they're putting their chief, which is the major, and then the major then has the interview. Got you.
Yeah.
I'm tracking them.
No, we're on the same page, man.
It's good. It's good. So anything after that?
Oh yeah, man. Oh, my career continues.
Well, let's continue that after this short break.
Sounds good, man.
All right.
Hey, if you like what you're hearing so far, check me out on orlyforsheriff.com. That's ORLY for sheriff.com. Or also check out my social medias on Instagram or Facebook, Orly for Sheriff. You want that sheriff that's modern, connected with the community, older generation, the younger generation, and that's going to make positive changes without bureaucracies and without ties to our local government. Check me out, donate, contribute, reach out, and connect with me. That's orlyforsheriff.com or on social media, Orly for Sheriff.
And wardrobe change.
Yes, sir. It was a little warm.
Yes, it is a little warm in here, but it's Florida.
Of course.
I noticed the American flag on the shirt.
Always.
Patriotism.
Very big.
Love it. And then you got the tat going on.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. That's it.
Yeah, I got this. My team was telling me maybe I shouldn't, but I'm like, it's Miami. I was like, this is guaranteed. The sheriff may not be, but with the grace of God, it will be.
Yeah.
And after everything was done, it's called the Mark of the Warrior.
Ooh.
And that's something that we need right now. You need someone that's going to be willing to stand up, protect its officers, its people, and this community.
I love it. All right. So you got promoted for supervisor, and you were getting into some of the units, and that you went to
Palmetto Bay.
There it is, Palmetto Bay.
Yes.
So
once I was in Palmetto Bay, I was there for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Had a great time there. Got married there.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations. That was how many years ago now?
Oh, man. I've been married now for 10 years, and we've been together for 13 years.
All right. That's good.
So
you're there. You're in for the long run now.
Sorry, everybody. I'm not a bachelor anymore.
So what else?
So right after Palmetto Bay, I got the opportunity, and I went to the Professional Compliance Bureau.
Okay.
Because I felt that my career – I also finished my bachelor's degree there, thank God.
All right.
Yeah, I was about 29 at that point, 28 years old when I got my bachelor's.
Did you do college throughout your career? Or
I did.
Yeah, because you were 19.
So there was so I was 19, and there was a lot of stuff I was doing in between, man.
Yeah.
I was going to school at Miami Dade College.
Yeah.
Would do some, I'm not a fan of online classes, so I would be going to Miami Dade Kendall campus, got my credits there, never took any of the, the elective courses, because I was like, I don't want to waste my time doing art or some other thing.
Yeah.
Even though I love art, believe it or not. And I finished that, and when I was in the academy, they told us, hey, these credits that you got here, you could be able to apply them to get a complete bachelor's degree.
Was that true?
Yeah, I was able to.
Nice.
I was able to do it through Union University. I got my bachelor's in criminal justice management. And when I finished that, I was like, I'm done with school. I'm not going to go back. And then time went by, and I ended up getting my master's.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I have my master's from FIU in international disaster management.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, and that's a little, and how many years, so we can say, until you got your bachelor's?
So it took me, I graduated, obviously 18 years old.
Yeah.
Right after high school, so about 10 years to get my bachelor's after.
And there's a word for the wise. So if you're looking to get into law enforcement, again, I told you a lot of aspiring police officers listening. It might be, it's hard to do it. You can do it. You're a testament to it.
Yeah.
Take a little bit longer. When you're working, you're doing off duties, you got some money coming in.
Of course.
So, but it takes you a little bit longer. You can do it, but you have to be. I bet you have to be super determined, because there's a lot of times where you're just like, bro, I'm so tired.
No, yeah,
I don't want to go to
dedication
school.
And everything else. But the good incentive was furthering your education is paramount. Anything that you learn, and on top of going to school, doing work, doing training, it educates you.
Yeah.
And education is a huge component of anything in life, because every day is a learning day.
Yeah.
If the day you say you know everything, that's when you've shut down and
done.
You're done.
And you're like, hey, slow down.
Yeah. Literally.
Oh, man.
So meantime, I'm doing that. And I was also coaching.
Okay.
So I coached for about 9 years, 5 years at Braddock Senior High. I went back to my old high school, and then 4 years at Varela.
Coaching what?
Oh, high school volleyball.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
you play the bump set
Bump
spikes.
set spike, yes.
Bump set spikes.
Bump set spike.
I got a couple. My niece is a volleyball player.
Oh, volleyball is a great sport.
Yeah.
It is awesome. It is one of those that really tests your endurance.
Yeah,
And-
I used to not professionally or on a team, but in PE,
Yeah.
crush it.
Oh man. So meanwhile, that happened. Finished my degree, and then I got the opportunity to go to Professional Compliance Bureau,
Nice.
which was our back then, and it still is, where our internal affairs was. So when I got to internal affairs, I was super excited because you have to be well-rounded in law enforcement, because you just can't have the uniform aspect and then the proactive aspect. You needed investigations. I didn't get a chance to do investigations as a uniform officer, but I got to do it at the supervisory level, which is our more delicate cases that has to deal with police officers.
Yeah.
So did that for 5 years in internal affairs, loved it. And I also got the opportunity while I was there to deal with our accreditation, our staff inspections. I got to be the administrative sergeant there, so I got to handle budgets and whatnot and deal with everything else that administratively you need. So agencies, it's not just uniform investigations, it's uniform investigation and administration.
Yeah,
You
that's
have
huge.
all three of those, you could do anything at an agency because you understand what the agency needs
Yeah.
to be able to procurement,
Yeah.
budgets, toys, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
If you understand how to request it, you're golden.
You're 1,000% accurate on that, because you can do patrol and know that you need new computers,
Yeah.
but if you don't know how to
Get it or request it,
yeah,
you're stuck. And a lot of us, some cops, they depend on the agency to get these things. And then there's the excuses and the this and what I call bureaucracy, the red tape.
Yeah.
And all of us hate that. So after doing internal affairs for 5 years, and I'm proud to say it, in 2020, I got the opportunity to, right before the pandemic, I got a chance to work. I got a chance, and I was afforded that opportunity by a former lieutenant in our department who retired already to work Super Bowl.
Oh.
So I got a nice chance to work undercover with the NFL and everything else to address those individuals that were counterfeiting and making merchandise that they're not supposed to.
Yes,
And that is a mega no for the NFL. But we caught a lot of individuals. I got us some haterade because they're like, "Oh, how'd he get that?" Don't worry about it.
No. So you worked undercover
Yes.
during the Super Bowl, not
During
the
Super
entire
Bowl.
Super Bowl, like the whole.
Oh yeah, during the entire Super Bowl.
So
So
I'm
even
saying
some of the
leading up
pre
to it,
leading
yes.
up to it,
Yeah.
we had a couple of games and whatnot that we had to go work.
How much were the tickets that they were selling?
Oh,
The fake tickets, thousands.
They were in the thousands.
Yeah.
But primarily it was the merchant. Believe it or not, it's the merchandise.
Yeah.
Any of that fake merchandise, oof, NFL does not like that. And that is a national problem that occurs every single time.
And this is not the first time, right? We had it twice in Miami already.
Yes.
You had it twice.
Actually, I worked it too.
Oh, okay.
But I was on a post. I was an officer. I worked it. I was like, what's that? The mile marker? Not a mile marker. All the way in the north end, I was just on a post, just doing traffic.
Yeah, those
Next time was better.
those positions suck. You got to wear comfortable shoes.
Comfortable shoes.
Bring
ready
an
for the
umbrella.
Long haul. Yep.
Bring because you never know. Little sandwich.
Yeah.
and a Gatorade bottle.
One.
No, one to drink and then one empty one.
Exactly.
In case you have to go to the bathroom. And you know what I'm talking about if you've done this post. You need somewhere to go.
You just,
That's
it is
it.
what it is.
All right, so you worked the Super Bowl undercover, and what else?
So I'm there in internal affairs, and then my supervisor asked me, he's like, "Hey, listen, are you interested in coming to homicide?" And I said, "Oh," like they were the captain and everybody else that was involved in our chain was really impressed on how you handled yourself on not just the assignment and the partnerships, but administratively how you dealt with everything. And he's like, "We need somebody over here in homicide like that." I was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
And then now it's the year 2020 and June, and boom, I go to homicide.
Yeah.
But pandemic. Everything is happening. Masks are being worn,
Yeah.
all these different orders of this and that.
Yeah.
But managed through it. And while I was there, I noticed immediately the need. There was a massive need to update certain things within the agency or within homicide. So I'll get back to that. But did homicide, While I was there, I ended up creating 2 units. One of them was HITS, the Homicide Intelligence Technology Squad, and I created the first hate crimes task force for the agency.
Okay.
And now I have all these roles and responsibilities that, like, you have way too much on your plate.
Yeah.
So my next assignment, they plucked me up and they moved me over to Homeland Security.
Oh.
So I went to Homeland with my task force, did my thing there. And once the mission was accomplished, policies were written, call-out criteria was done, I let it go. I'm very big on, like, you tell me, give me a task, give me an assignment, I will get it done, and I will accomplish it, go forward.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Because I had to move on. Next topic.
Yeah.
Next mission. So next thing you know, I'm asked, I'm asked to go back to homicide. And they're like, we need another favor. And I say we, it's the agency heads. We need another favor. There's a transit unit that's being created or that needs to get revamped in the police operations back then section. Now it's a bureau. And I went over there to help them develop the transit squad that was out there.
What's the transit squad do?
So right now, there's always been officers that work it, but we are there providing that security, safety for the individuals because we have Bright Line, so the Metro Rail system, all the way to US 1, the busway that runs north and south all the way down to about Florida City, and Dadeland, all the different train stations that are there, and we provide that safety and security. A lot of times it's guidance. Our presence there alone deters crime phenomenally. I want to say a couple of weeks ago, I was dealing with an incident where I don't know if you're aware of it, on the Douglas Road station, where an individual was trying to commit suicide. The whole system had to stop and whatnot, so I was there for that, and we were able to save his life, thank God. And it was the same night that down south, 3 of our officers were shot.
Oh, okay, I know that incident.
Same day. So saving the life of one guy, and I say it proudly, I thank those officers in Cutler Ridge District, shout out to them for vanquishing that evil, because you cannot have individuals point guns at police officers and expect nothing to happen.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. And I don't want to, I need to acknowledge that point what you just said.
Which part?
What you just said. I'm just acknowledging and reinforcing it, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. To go back to the transit thing, just so people listening, because they might not be familiar, it's kind of like the New York subways.
Yes.
So it's pretty much like that. And then you
except ours is above ground.
Yeah.
We don't go underground.
Yeah, otherwise it'd be the submarine system.
Exactly.
All right. So shout out to those officers that handled business that night.
Yes, 100%.
Way to make us proud.
Yep.
All right. What else? So the HITS is
yes.
I didn't want to gloss over that because I think that's interesting.
It is.
Homicide Intelligence
Technology Squad.
Thank God you weren't a part of the traffic unit, and because everything's an acronym.
Everything's
so HITS
acronym.
Is Homicide Intelligence. Thank God you weren't a part of the Traffic Intelligence Technology Squad, because that's a whole nother acronym that would be hard to explain and take serious.
No, yeah, it's one of those, man.
You get it?
Yeah. I completely get it.
I'll put it on the screen here.
Exactly.
So tell me a little bit about the HIT squad.
So without getting into too many details about it,
because it's
because of what it
sensitive.
does, but its primary function was all the requests that were coming in specifically across the department were all going through a separate bureau, and the turnaround time was months, years, because everybody in the department was doing it there. But the main persons that were requesting this information was homicide.
Yeah.
So we came up with the idea, myself and a team, we need to create a unit here that could just handle it in-house so we could expedite that service for the general public and these victims.
I got you. So it was being done, but you're just implementing it now in-house.
We implemented it 100% in-house.
Boom.
So
streamlining it.
Streamlining it 100%. And it's worked because we've had a huge turnaround in cases and being able to solve them because of the work that those guys do there.
Love it. Love it. I think that's sometimes because you send out something to get reviewed or you need some information back on it. There's a couple days lag where you just hand it to the guy who's in the room there. Like, hey, man, do this or whatever. And then they take care of it. I love it. All right. Good stuff. What else?
Yeah, buddy. After that, I've been there. I'm currently providing that service.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still. So for those of you that don't know, Orly is still an active police officer. I'm a police sergeant still in the Miami Dade Police Department. I work the transit system. I'm out there Monday through Friday doing my job, providing that service with my team and making sure that all the visitors, people that are commuting, because public transportation is used by a lot of people. At any given point, we could have over 6,000 people on that transit system.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and a lot of it is workers, people from the 111 building, people that work downtown, because I don't even have to talk about traffic right now.
Oh,
we know how bad traffic is.
Oh, that's what are you going to do about traffic, Sheriff Orly? So, and the transit system's huge. Law enforcement, they're huge, and I think it's huge that you have they have experience in Homeland Security, because that's also that can be a target if somebody wants to be a bad actor. That transit system is right there,
yes, sir.
To disrupt. But so with that being said,
yeah, buddy, that's my career in a nutshell.
Not yet.
Not yet.
In a nutshell, yeah. But it's not over yet, because you decided to put your name in the hat and run for sheriff.
Yep.
So you want to talk a little bit more in detail about that, and because if those of you who don't know, it's a political position, and you have to affiliate with Republican, Democrat, and then Independent, I believe.
Yeah.
Are you which position did you affiliate, or party did you affiliate with?
What party am I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
nowadays it's hard to ask that question.
No, it's not hard to figure it out either. However, public safety should not have a party affiliation.
Yeah.
Because when you call 911, you're providing a service to the community.
I agree.
There's no like 911, how can I help you? Oh, I'm sorry, you're an independent. Please hold.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
we don't pick and choose who we're providing a service to. Everybody deserves that service. There is no picking about that. So, but it's state law. This is party affiliated for the sheriffs across the state, and I am a Republican. I am proud to say that, and I have no problem saying that I'm a Republican.
Yeah. So it's but you're also a human, right?
I'm a person, yeah.
I like Republican, Democrat, Independent. It's just
People are people.
Yeah, and you got to listen to what each other is saying. You know, obviously there's some things that you're not going to agree with, but you got to be able to have that conversation with each other.
100%.
And somewhere you meet in the middle, some middle ground. Some things you cannot give up, but sometimes there's some middle ground that you can meet at.
Always.
So you decided to run for sheriff.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. So tell me a little bit about that. How's this campaign? Is it everything that you hoped it would be and more?
Oh, man, let me tell you.
Is it true what they say, that politics are sucio?
Sucio? It's muy sucio.
Yeah? Man, that sucks.
The advice prior to me filing my name, because like anyone else, or at least I hope, I seek guidance and advice, because this is an arena that I've never been in. And I simply asked the question, like, give me the reality. I've seen it on the news before where they pull out dirt and everything else.
Yeah.
But prior to me putting my name in and getting the advice, I talked to my other half, and I was like, is there anything we got to worry about? And I'm like, no, there is nothing, because I investigated the police for 5 years. I've been on the department. Back then I was 18 years on. And I was like, I've carried myself in a professional manner. This may sound a little cheesy, but I was instilled with those core values that Miami Dade Police Department has of integrity, respect, service, and fairness. So all the way till now, I still carry myself that way. There's no reason to lie. You have to provide a service to people. You got to be respectful, and you have to be honest, because why am I going to compromise my integrity?
Yeah.
My word is my bond. If I have no integrity, that's it. The general public isn't going to trust you. And I'm not trying to lose that trust with the community. Almost there, close to retirement. 25 years is only 6 years away. So
yeah, I know. And then how's it affected you now that you're running, and there's some candidates that are running that are also with you? Do you still say you're still the same guy? Hey, what's up, man? Everything cool?
I've always been the same guy. Yeah. When I got promoted to sergeant, we were celebrating at Little Hooley's. No longer exists, back in the one in down south on 136th Street. For those of you that have been there, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She told me, shout out to her. Her name is Peggy Garrison. Hopefully she hears this. She said, Orly, do not change who you are. Be that supervisor you wanted to work for.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I've carried myself that way. Even till this day, I tell people Orly, and they're like, oh, Sarge, or oh, Sergeant, and I'm like, Orly.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, my career I work so that I can live. I don't live to work. I was born Orlando Lopez. Everybody calls me Orly. My family calls me Tito, but I'm Orly. I'm always going to carry myself like that. And once the people of Miami-Dade County vote me in, I'll be Sheriff Orly.
Oh, and where can they go to support if you're listening?
You can check out my social medias, my website, Orly for Sheriff. That's ORLY for sheriff.com, or at Instagram or Facebook.
All right. So, I mean, guys, if you like what you're hearing, just go ahead. We'll take small donations, right?
Yeah, of course.
Let them get $1. Give them $1.
Give me $1. Because right now I'm self-funded, so it's hard.
Oh, but if it's something you believe in, right?
Of course.
You're investing in yourself.
Yeah. So back to your original question.
Yeah, go ahead.
This was not a part of the plan at all.
No?
No. I was not planning to be sheriff at all. I was literally talking to my other half about, hey, where are we going to retire? Where are we going to go? And because I was supporting Freddie. I was supporting Freddie Ramirez, and then he had his tragedy. Yeah. And that literally derailed us all. Yeah. Because of all people, not saying that it should happen to anybody, but this has left us in the dark, literally. It's like going into the Star Wars world. Yeah. He was the chosen one. Yeah. He kept the balance in the Force, and now we're in darkness. Right. So once he did it, we all dealt with the pain. We all cried. It was devastating because he was a friend and a mentor. Yeah. And he appointed me to be the first liaison for the department. He believed in me. And then next thing you know, here we are. So I saw that nobody in our agency stood up. Yeah. Nobody. I'm like, hold on a second. We have managers and supervisors and people that claim to be leaders, but nobody put their name in the hat. So then what does Orly do? I file for office, and then everybody jumps in after me.
So you were the first one after the incident? That's accurate.
That's as accurate as I know that I filed my paperwork, but there's another candidate that supposedly said he put his paperwork in, but whatever. I mean, I just noticed that when I did it.
Is there a way to fact check that or no?
Yeah, you can. We could double check. He said that he did it a couple weeks before. Yeah. But he had like zero traction. Oh, okay. So there's going to be, like right now, a whole bunch of people could jump in. It's like, okay. How true? Where is your conviction? How do you want to do it? And I'm a big advocate of leadership. Yeah. Actions represent leadership. None of the supervisors in my agency put their name in. So I said, you know what? I cannot stomach losing our agency to someone that we don't know. Yeah. I can't stomach all these random changes that could occur. Someone that could literally be like, hey, you know what? You have too much time off. Let's cut those banks. Hey, you know what? You're making too much money. Let's reduce those salaries. That's dangerous.
Do you feel like that if somebody from the outside not familiar with
the way that we operate? Yeah. I want to say the general consensus that I've gotten from the general public and the individuals that I work with have said, my coworkers, my team, they prefer someone from inside the agency that understands how we operate. And I understand how we operate, but there's plenty of ways of making it better. And that's something that's needed. You want to be able to, and that's one of my points in my campaign, the modernization of this agency.
We're going to get into that. I got some scenarios.
Oh, buddy.
We're going to talk about some Terminator scenarios, some AI.
Oh, boy.
No, we're going to talk about scenarios. Well, continue. I didn't want to cut you off. About the drive to become sheriff. And
so after nobody had filed their name, I had a conversation with my significant other, my in-laws, and my parents. And I asked each of them, would you support me if I did this? And they said yes. Yeah. They thought about my father-in-law, who's a former Miami-Dade sergeant. He retired like a long time ago. He thought about it, and then he gave me an answer the next day. And he's like, yeah, I truly support you, and I believe that you have the qualities that are needed in today's society. You bridge the gap between, there's a lot of crossroads that are occurring. And I feel that since my adult life to now, all these crossroads keep intersecting. And that's an important thing because, like you were mentioning earlier, I can understand the older generation, the ones that Incubus, Wu-Tang Clan, individuals, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Exactly. Yeah. To the Lady Gagas, the Drake, and everything else. And it's one of those where I get it. And I bridge those gaps because I currently do it right now. Yeah. So I have conversations, believe it or not, and shocking news, my campaign manager is a Democrat. And we are a perfect example of bridging that gap because we can understand each other. But at the same token, we do disagree on some topics, but we mostly agree because we find that middle line where we could both agree on.
That's what we were talking about earlier. I love it. I love it. All right, so anything else to add to that? Because we're gonna move on to these scenarios.
Oh, let's go, man.
I wanna run some scenarios, some table. What's it called? Table exercises.
Cool.
Right. But when we come back from these commercials. Introducing the MPS Defender. This is a folding convertible ballistic shield for personal and vehicular use. Perfect for the day-to-day patrol officer and versatile enough for any special operation assignment. The shield in a folded configuration is 21 by 15 inches. Unfolded, your mobile area of cover is now 36 by 15 inches. It has 4 loops to attach a sling so the user can wear it slung over their back. The interfacing MOLLE panel system allows you to attach any extra gear necessary. On the front of the shield, you have bright LED lights that can be activated ambidextrously via the rear handle's dual buttons. The shield itself weighs 7 pounds with its included level 3A soft armor, which stops up to 44 Magnum as well as buckshot and slugs. Adding a ballistic plate insert brings the weight up to only 12 pounds, while stopping up to M80 and M855 rounds. The MPS Defender includes a mount allowing you to attach the shield to any car door for rapid deployment. To learn more about this life-saving equipment, visit the link down below. Dun dun dun, are you ready to get into the hot seat, hot seat, hot seat, hot seat?
Oh, boy.
Many before you have been canceled because of the way they answer these questions. Nobody's been canceled. You're the first person.
And it's a privilege to be the first one.
You're the first one.
First.
That's right. Remember that. The first. This is history. We got history. We're making history all throughout this podcast. All right, here we go. I'm gonna go off my notes here because I had these questions a little structured. Then we can when we talk about it. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna put it out there.
Okay, bud.
All right, here we go. Hypothetically, and we're going to talk some situations. All right, here we go. Day 1, Sheriff Orly in office, not wearing the cowboy hat, but he's got the spurs on. No, I'm just kidding. So day 1, you're in office, and you're about to let everyone know which way you're taking the department. What do you say to the community, and what do you say to the troops as a whole? Go.
Well, prior to day 1, once I'm sheriff-elect.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to get sworn in. Got
exactly.
It. Yeah.
Sheriff-elect, I will have me and my team develop the 100-day plan.
Okay.
And make sure what we're going to be doing from day 1.
I like that.
And we will implement that plan. After the ceremonies and everything else, hey, we swear you in and everything else, day 1 of actual business. First day, a thorough evaluation of our entire command staff is going to occur.
Okay.
Because right now we are too top heavy.
Okay.
There's no reason for us to have so many individuals. It was like the former individuals, my predecessors, felt like, oh, you get a gold star and you get a gold star. They were literally just throwing them out. It's like,
look under your chair.
you got a gold star. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But no, we will have that thorough evaluation, and I will assess and make sure what is going to happen. And I will address the public and let them know, first, my appreciation for entrusting in me to guide this transition from a police department to a sheriff's agency, which are going to be, it's the points in my campaign. The transition is the most important part because we have the transition.
Yeah.
And within that is going to come the modernization. And with that comes more transparency and furthering the relationships we have, not just with the community, but with our local, federal, and state partners.
Okay.
So day 1, get that going.
All right. And then, so what do you say?
Day 2, chop heads off.
Oh, my goodness.
Just kidding. No.
He's talking about.
There will be demotions.
Okay. There will be demotions. So that's big, because you feel as though it's top heavy administratively. And
of course.
Some positions that somebody can do.
No, of course.
They don't need somebody below them doing it, right?
No, of course.
Extra position.
And it's one of those because there's what we call, obviously you're aware of this, is you delegate assignments. And a lot of assignments are delegated. And so if you're delegating them, well, why do I need you there?
Yeah.
So everybody in the agency, I'm just going to put this out there, whoever's listening, nobody's going to get fired.
Okay.
But there will be an evaluation, a thorough professional evaluation of roles and responsibilities, and clarify that. And if we could do things more efficiently and effectively internally, outcome, better service for the community, better service for anybody that needs us, going to bring back a prestigiousness to this agency.
I like that.
Yeah.
So are we putting more troops out there,
Yes.
or out to the street, come out from in the building out to the street? Or are we hiring more? Like, what do you?
I heard
push
of this
for?
thing called police jobs. So
Hey,
shout out.
plug! Yeah, I don't want to overshadow, but we'll get into this, guys, on the podcast, or what this symbol means. But
Exactly.
it's a new venture that I have brewing.
Exactly.
I just want to leave Easter eggs there.
Yeah, little Easter eggs.
That's right.
But yeah, that's gonna be a part of the plan, and then that thorough evaluation of everybody's pay rates, because you need to be compensated for what you're worth.
Okay.
And in today's economy and tomorrow's economy, we need to make sure you're putting your life on the line, providing a service for the community. You need to make sure you're getting paid, and you deserve to get paid.
Okay.
So that's going to be that part. And just make sure, yes, more troops, better pay, better. All these things will be evaluated.
Okay.
But we will be we are a prestigious agency. We're a good agency, but we will be better.
Okay.
We're going to make Miami Dade Sheriffs great again.
Oh my! Is that your campaign slogan?
No. At all.
Okay. But and as a community member, I can expect faster time,
Better service. It's going to be it's a 4-year transition.
Okay,
so there's a lot. You're going to continue getting the service that you're getting right now.
Yeah.
But once the plans are implemented and the evaluations are complete, you're going to see it. You're going to be able to see the difference between the Miami-Dade Police Department and the Miami-Dade Sheriffs.
Okay, I like that. Oh, my phone turned off for the next one. So moving on, I'm going to talk about some scenarios that we've seen. Now, actually, locally, there's been some scenarios. Don't want to call out any specific agencies, but across the nation and California, I just saw one today. I wish I had the video set up, and I'll talk a little bit about the video. About street takeovers.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well, that gets under my skin, those street takeovers. It sends
Yours and mine too, man.
it sends a message of lawlessness, and I guess California, they tolerate it, but here in the great state of Florida, man, it just bothers me when I see that in a bubble up. So today I saw a video in California, and I'll show it on the podcast. So if you're listening, tune into the video. Nick Off Duty Presents on YouTube. But they parked a Jeep in the middle of the intersection.
Okay.
And they poured gasoline all over it, lit it on fire, and then did donuts around it with all the people watching, and they were drifting around the car that's on fire. Now, I assume that car is stolen, or somebody has a lot of money.
I did see that video.
You saw that video?
Yes, I was like, I just didn't understand what the hell was going on. I was like, what are they doing?
Right, with the gas, right?
I'm like,
is this a new Jeep commercial? Are they trying to do an organic, grassroots Jeep commercial?
I don't think so.
Oh, like Tesla was like bulletproof with the Tesla Cybertruck,
even
and this
get
one's
me.
flame resistant.
Yeah, flame resistant.
No, so they lit the thing on fire, and then they're doing donuts around it. And I mean, I guess that's California. That's why you do your thing over there, Cali. With side, but
right.
East side's the best side. Florida's the best state. I say that. You don't have to say it. I'm sure you believe it, but. It's popping up here.
Yeah, those instances are occurring. Those incidents are occurring.
Yeah, and not saying that we're not addressing it, but what are some things that you would do as sheriff in order to mitigate this, stop it in its tracks, and
Of course,
make it safe for everyone to be out driving around without getting stopped in the middle of an intersection waiting while people are doing donuts?
No, of course. First, I got to give a shout out to our governor, because he's been ahead of this. He has put out laws that are in place that we can arrest and what the general public can do, specifically with the street takeovers. Since I was working in Homeland Security, my unit and other units from Homeland Security were working those incidents.
Yeah.
And it was one of those where my approach as sheriff would have been totally different.
Yeah.
If we know where these incidents are occurring, you should start to enforce, and not with unmarks. You should do it with marked units.
Yeah.
Proactively ahead. It's occurring. For example, Kendall and 137. We all know where Kendall and 137 is. If it's occurring right there, the day of, or the day of that it's being announced that it's going to be, or whatever it's going to do, have a massive amount of enforcement. Not just in the intersection, but in the surrounding neighborhoods. Any violations that are occurring, so it could be the guy in the yellow Dodge Charger with a little bumblebee or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He gets stopped for a ticket, and he's going to be like, he ran a stop sign, or he improperly changed lanes, or
He
was
broke the law.
speeding. He broke the law.
It wasn't the car.
It wasn't the car.
It wasn't the bumblebee car. People are like, really? But he broke the law.
He broke the law.
Yeah.
So the individual will get cited. You have more of that visibility, more of that presence. It'll deter people.
Yeah.
I could attest on that because just by having my unit in the transit system, we have deterred a lot of crimes. Thefts have gone down. Fare evasions have gone down. People aren't committing suicide on the platform, which is great because they see the officers there. So it deters it. So that would be one of the things. You start doing that proactive enforcement ahead of time. You have that intelligence gathering, and you'll be able to decrease those incidents from occurring. And you educate the public.
Yeah.
We'll do it through social media. Put it out there. If you are caught in one of these locations just for viewing it, you will be cited, you will be arrested, whatever the law says about that. If you are caught, your car will be towed.
Yeah.
Our agency is currently taking those steps, but it's not enough.
Right.
We can't have that because that just encourages different lawlessness, and we can't have that in Miami-Dade County.
So it happens. Some policy changes in regards to maybe the way you take down the people involved that flee, or is there anything happening?
Those are things that would have to be implemented. Everybody might have their own personal views on how, because you have to make that choice.
Yeah.
Whether to enforce it, shout out to FHP, they do it. They are handling business. And that is something that Miami-Dade Police Department, Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office will implement. You train your officers properly. You educate the public. You're not just going to go around and pit people just for no reason. There has to be a certain criteria. But you stop them. You run from the police. This is what's going to happen. You try to flee and make a scene and get the meeting. No.
Yeah.
You stop it ahead of time. You mitigate these things from occurring.
Yeah, and he documented. Like, I think.
Yeah, of course.
I think, you know how far that message would go if you got the little hot rods on a flatbed and you're standing and just saying, hey, these guys decided to come out.
Yeah.
Not on my watch.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, you have to have it. You need someone that's going to have the courage to back their officers up.
So the street takeover stuff is not only it shows lawlessness and it's just a portrayal of the way that your area is going, right? That cops allow this, why? Because you see it on social media. I'm on social media, so
of course you see it.
Yeah, but not only that, there's a danger, right? There's a danger with all that.
Complete danger. Did you see the video? I don't know where it occurred. Same thing. They're doing a donut, and the joke about it was a heavier set female that was like, oh, they're giving away donuts, and she walks into it, and the car hits her and throws her across the street.
That I have seen countless videos.
But that was one of the more recent ones.
Yeah.
It's occurred multiple times.
Did you see the one where they're sitting in the windows of the car that's doing the donuts, and then the car flips and rolls and kills? I think one of them seriously injured, most of them. Go ahead.
Perfect example. No.
Yeah.
The statistics that we have through our traffic homicide unit, it just shows it.
Yeah.
These incidents occur. And then you have the individuals that have come out on TV saying, oh, he was a good person. Oh, well, why was he doing this?
Yeah.
And
to go back, then they're getting violent, right?
Yeah.
Not only with themselves, where there was a shooting up in the northern part of Miami-Dade the other day. One vehicle hit another one, and then they fired, bang, 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 bang. But with police, the police that are coming to stop, and maybe they're coming solo and one officer, and they're outnumbered, and an officer's getting out of their car, and as somebody's videoing, and as they're coming, the guy kicks the officer's door as the officer's opening it. And then there was an incident in Miami-Dade where officers trying to effect an arrest, and they shoot a firework.
They threw the fire. Yeah.
Boom, boom, bang. He's like, oh, my God. Man, so this stuff.
Unacceptable.
And, and I guess the ones that are arguing for it are like the kids, like the younger people that are just want to be, it's cool to do this. But a lot of people, they don't like that.
No, a lot. The consensus of the general public, no.
Yeah.
Listen, we all grew up here in Miami. People speed, people do things, but those are kid things. You can't have that. And when it gets to the point where you're endangering the lives of other people, the general public, yourself, you can't have that.
Do you think
driving is not a right? Driving is a privilege.
Yeah.
So if it's one of those where we have to start aggressively citing more, and because you could see it. And if it gets to that point where you're like, this person might have to have their license revoked or reevaluated, we'll go that direction. But
so you support, and this might be something too that the public are saying, why aren't officers doing more? It's like maybe, hey, look, I'm an officer, right? And I go in there to stop somebody, and then things just go out of hand and something might happen. Now I'm like, oh, well, if my administration doesn't support me going in there and going hands-on and doing this, and I have to, and God forbid, I have to use some kind of force or even the ultimate deadly force, you know, then am I going to be backed by my agency? If that officer doesn't feel as though they're going to be backed by their agency, they're going to be like, well, not really hurting anybody. They'll be done in 15, 20 minutes. Let me just hang back or put my beep, 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 beep. No one leaves. It's on.
And that's the consensus around. Yeah. You ask any officer in any agency right now, and this is no jab at anyone, but majority of the agencies across Miami-Dade County, officers do not feel that they have the backing of their command staff. They literally feel they come out on the news, it doesn't look pretty. Next thing you know, they're going to be relieved of duty. They're going to be terminated. They could fight to get their jobs back. And that's incorrect. That's something that for a law enforcement officer, you need to be able to know you are going to execute your job, your duties. You're going to end up doing it under good faith, and that you're going to have those protections afforded to you by law and by your agency. But most officers don't feel that. Yeah. And that is a sign of a lack of leadership.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if you're the public out there listening and it's under your skin, too, you see this stuff on social media and you want something done about it, that's why I want to bring you on so you can give your position. They'd be like, well, at least this guy says he's going to do something.
Oh, I will do something.
You know? So moving on.
Yes, sir.
Moving on. Local, not in the same county, but the neighboring county up north in Broward County. Not too long ago, they had Marjorie Stoneman Douglas incident where they had an active shooter. I'm not going to say the idiot's name, but he goes into the school. Yep. And he, you know, obviously the situation's horrible.
It's horrible.
We don't have to explain. Everyone knows about it.
Yep.
Miami-Dade County.
Yes.
You're the sheriff, and we have to protect the residents. What are we doing to ensure, to help mitigate, to help prevent, harden up some soft targets, different things that we can do as an agency and what you would do as a sheriff to help ensure that, you know, there's a smaller chance of that happening?
Well, I'll go into a personal story, which some people may know about this, may not know about this, but back in 2007, September 13 of 2007, I was involved in a shooting. It was horrific, where a friend of mine died. 3 of them were injured, and that everybody knows it as the Jose Somojano shooting.
Yes.
I was involved in that. It's one of those topics that I don't like to get into too much because of the simple fact that if my agency would have been proactive, that situation would have turned out totally different. But back then, we didn't have AR-15s approved. So
you guys didn't have so people listening that might not know about the case, you engaged with a subject who was armed with a rifle.
Yeah, he was armed with a
high-powered rifle.
Yes.
And then you guys were left with
just our handguns to defend ourselves, our sidearms, and that's it. The only thing we had back then was, I want to say, the 9mm ARs, whatever those are.
Yeah, those are essentially a rifle with 9mm rounds.
Yeah,
with the same handgun.
It's the same ammunition. Yeah. So
SWAT had rifles back then.
Yes.
However, not patrol.
Not patrol.
Now patrol has
it.
Okay, elaborate a little bit on that.
So things would have turned out differently. So I understand how to deal with the loss of life, a friend, family. It's horrible. I would never want that to occur to one of our officers. And even till today, the most recent shooting that we had with Etchi, that is horrific. We as police officers should not have to endure that. And you'll have people like, oh, that's what they signed up for. No, man. That's somebody's son, somebody's husband, somebody's father. You can't, that pain will never go away. So with incidents regarding schools, it goes back to, again, education. If we start training and we build those relationships better with the other agencies, school board, we can implement different trainings throughout the year at different locations. We currently do the active shooter situations and whatnot as an agency. We've done it at Dadeland and some other schools, but proactively do it more and be able to train better together. Because when things occur, are we allowed to curse on here or no?
Yeah. If it flies in Marvel, In a Marvel movie, you can say it here.
Awesome.
Shit hits the fan.
When shit hits the fan,
There you go.
everybody responds.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you work for.
Yeah.
When one of us gets hurt, everybody's responding.
Absolutely.
It's every single municipality, federal agency. We're all working together to deal with and neutralize evil. You want to vanquish that evil because you stop the shooting, you stop the dying.
Yeah.
And if we are training together, we are going to know how to deal with that. Like right now, are you familiar with, just as an example, do you know where the gymnasium is in Sunset Senior High School?
I didn't even know the high school before you said it. I just started shaking my head. No, 'cause
No.
I'm like, no.
No.
Maybe my high school, that's about it.
Where'd you go?
Went to Cooper City High School. I was a
that's in
cowboy.
Pew, pew. Pew, pew. So that's up north in Broward. somewhere.
Yes, yes.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
You tell me, where's that gymnasium? No clue.
No. So, well, but it's important, and I know where you're going because there's in the jurisdiction that I patrolled, I might not know where the gymnasium is.
Yeah.
Because it's just not something, unless you get a call there, it's not something because the call volume is so high.
Of course.
That you're bouncing around here and there and there. So you might not even know in your own jurisdiction because there might be 5 or 6 schools in just one little area. Because a
course.
private school, public school, a high school, a middle
charter school, and they're popping up everywhere.
Right. So it's important to train for that. So training.
And you want to make sure that you're training. And
Yeah.
a lot of the pulse of the department and individuals, they want more training.
Yeah.
The officers want to do their job. They want to be able to go out there and protect the community. But again, unless it gets to that moment, it's case by case. A lot of them are afraid to do their job because they don't know if they're going to be backed by the agency. And you can't have that. When you are dealing with public safety, the safety of the public comes first, and then you need to make sure that you're not worrying about, because that's going to affect the reaction that the officers are going to do. You don't have to be the most tactical person,
Yeah.
because I know I'm not.
Yeah.
But I do know that there's experts out there, and I would want those individuals to be able to train my officers to be able to get there, neutralize the threat, and move forward. So collaborative training, make sure that we're doing that, and not just with school board, but with all the agencies that are across all 32 departments. Don't quote me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of smaller agencies and local municipalities that are in the
100%.
county. So I agree with that. And the whole thing about you saying that I'm not the most tactical guy, right? To be honest, I mean, officers now, the younger officers, I see them very engaged in their
100%.
in their training, and they're doing a lot of these things outside of the department because maybe the department doesn't provide that stuff. So they're getting a little bit more tactically trained. But however, there are still officers out there that are not that tactical.
Yeah, right.
But those are the officers that are going to have to respond.
Exactly.
Whether you train or not,
Whether you train or not,
you get that call, you got to go in there.
you're going to have to go in.
So it's good to have a multi-agency
No, of
task
course, you
force,
have
right?
to have that.
Yeah.
And those that don't want that training, it's going to get forced.
Yeah.
Because, and a lot of times this happens where there's calls for service. There's not enough people. You don't have the seniority. And I'm talking about going to training.
Yeah.
Because there might be that guy that's not tactical, but he wants to go to training, but his command staff won't let him go.
Yeah.
And then that holds his career back. He's not the mold that they're used to.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't negate the fact that he wants to further his education and his knowledge in his field of work. Have personnel. One of the ideas that I have, it would be a logistical nightmare, but have our personnel from our training bureau, instead of having on-duty training, put in-service training in a sense, where they will go to the district, 2 hours of training real quick, do building searches, coming directly from the training staff from our training bureau to be able to educate them and further with the new techniques. I just went through one of the trainings that they had at our facility, at the training bureau. Great training. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But it's been in place for a little bit. But by the time it got to me, it's like we have to be able to provide this information a little bit quicker. And I feel that there's too much bureaucracy currently in the agency that people can't reach the training that they want. So
you want to streamline
streamline training and make sure that it's available and afforded to everybody.
it. Yeah.
So
And and training. So the listeners out there is like, why aren't they getting training? It could be staffing, like staffing shortages, or if you take 2 people off the road to go to training, well, you got to replace them or make sure that the other people show up to work, because then you're shorting.
yeah,
That's a little.
Yeah, that on-shift training, but it's plausible.
Yeah.
But there's individuals right now that just nope, they'll put in for it, whatever, and it's like if you get it, you get it, and if you don't, you don't. No, that's not right, because in turn, that's going to affect the response that we're going to be giving to the general public. And not for anything, my kids go to schools here in these. I thank the Hammocks District and anybody that works the school, I'm not going to say it, that on off duty, and they're always there. I praise them because they are there providing a service not just to the school, but to my own children that are there. And I thank God that they're there because God forbid something happens. I want to know that somebody's going to be there that's going to do what they have to do.
Yeah, I think it's especially with schools, and schools is like, you gotta get in there.
You gotta get in there.
And let me ask you, and we'll just talk specifically on an event that happened in Uvalde, in Texas. And you don't have, and this is just now.
Does it have to do with the transgender?
No,
okay,
not at all. It was actually with the tactics, right? And I don't like the Monday morning quarterback, but if you're going to be sheriff, maybe this is something that that is available at your disposal to utilize. God forbid a situation like that ever happened.
Okay.
From my understanding, there was a window in that classroom. If you remember the incident, the person runs in, the bad guy runs in, they shoot, and then at one point they're in a classroom down a hallway.
Okay.
And there's people at the end of the hallway. They're staged there. And I don't know if they had gunfire back and forth, but that person was in a long hallway, and at the end the door was open. It never occurred, or I was like, man, why don't they just pop CS gas in through the window? And CS gas is essentially tear gas.
Yeah.
So pop some CS gas through the window, toss it in there, and man, and if the kids get choked up, then it is what it is. But there was like hostages in there, and he was actively at one point. There was rounds going off where they were like, oh, he's killing these kids.
Yeah.
But at another point, they have to run down a gauntlet, a hallway, where there's rifle rounds coming at you.
Yeah.
So you're between a rock and a hard place, but you need to get down there. So why not? And I don't know if this guy had a gas mask, which I don't believe he did, but pop some CS gas and throw it into the window, and you smoke them out.
It all goes down to the way that agency trains or whatever protocols they have or policies and procedures. If they normally would do that, if they're certified to do that, that's, again, a realm that I would have to educate myself further.
Yeah.
But I do know with the training that I have received, and it's always been, we might change the name or we might change whatever it is. It's occurring. You go, you neutralize. You stop the killing. I mean, you stop the shooting, you stop the dying.
Yeah.
And that is the way that I've carried myself. Whatever, the diamond formation, you get a team, you get 3 people, go. And if it has to be you by yourself, it's you by yourself. When I was involved in my shooting, it was me and one other individual that was running in that direction. Yeah. And I can tell you, it was horrifying. But you know what? You have to have the balls to do what is needed. And if you're running away from the bullets, then maybe this is not the career for you. Yeah. Because those situations come, thank God, few and far between. But if you're involved in that situation, and if you have been involved in it, you know that's when you check, this is the job you signed up for. Are you going to do what is needed? Yeah. And that's what I want from my deputies, that I know that they're going to go out there and provide the service to the community and stop whatever is occurring in this county. Lawlessness is not acceptable. Because if we allow it, it always becomes, it's like a little bird. It'll start pecking and pecking and pecking. Oh, this is okay. And then this is okay. And then the next thing you know, we're living in Escape from LA. Yeah, big time. Literally.
That's like a woodpecker went on the side of my parents' house and started at the foundation, and then eventually just messed up the whole entire side of the house where they were like, man, we should have just shot this woodpecker with a BB gun. But it messed up the side of the house. But to go back and I want to, so people that are might be, what are you talking about, Uvalde, Monday morning quarterback? It was an extended period of time where now this guy is established in this room. There's things that happen and they're just waiting. So it's like, man, if you got time on your hands, why not pop some CS gas, right? Course. So, and to go back, there's no training for that, and this is where it's important
I'll jump in real quick for this one because I was having this conversation, and this is something that I don't agree with that we currently operate. I don't know how it is in some of the other agencies. Maybe you could educate me. Unless you're on a team, you don't get to have all those cool toys.
True.
And I disagree. If you're trained to have whatever equipment, and obviously as you show that proficiency, why are you not allowed to use it? Because I have people that currently work for me that I know and other places in my department that are certified, prior SRT and everything else, but they are not allowed to have any of those tools because they're not a part of a team. That is, I think, a disservice to the community 100%, because literally Now you have a guy that's out there doing a separate job, but if the shit happens, he's right there and he can start dealing with it.
Yeah.
Why not? But again, I'm not the boss yet.
Yeah. So I think, and you're right, 1,000%. I think they are realizing that though with the active shooter stuff, and you gotta wait for 4 officers. Then there's like 2 officers. Now it's like you hear gunshots, you go in, and you worry about shit later. But now because of that, they're like, oh well, the officer's like, okay, you can send me in there. All right, now I need a shield. So now they're like, I know. In an agency particular, not to be named, there's shields that go out on duty that officers have to return after shift, and then somebody in the platoon or in the shift has one of the shields or a couple shields that go out. So they're starting to give officers the tools that they need. You know, they're they ask you to do this job. Well,
of course,
give me some tools, man.
Give me the tools to deal with it. Of course, we'll go to something even simpler.
Yeah,
that's not the extreme. It's a reality that it could occur. We're required to go out there and handle aggressive dogs.
Yeah.
A vicious dog, loose, he's whatever, he's doing whatever. We give our officers no tools. They just say, the animal services won't respond unless the animal's contained. So you're expected, formal, and I've had to do it multiple times, contain this dog that hopefully is not aggressive. Yeah. With no tools. Yeah. I've had to take off my belt and put it around his neck and do my thing. I'm a dog person. Yeah. I love dogs. Yeah. I currently have a miniature schnauzer. Love that guy. His name is Hades. It's great.
Shout out to Hades, the schnauzer. I'm not a dog fan.
Okay.
I like dogs. I don't know how that is. I don't have nothing against dogs. Let's put it out there.
Oh, boy, Nick.
I'm a dog's out there. But
of course.
I don't have a dog.
But that's just one example.
Yeah.
You're saying availability of tools. I don't know the name of it, but there is a gun belt that is super lightweight. It's amazing. Apparently, a lot of the officers have it, but they've had to spend their own money on that.
Yeah.
Why, as an agency, haven't we looked into that to be like, hey, listen, instead of buying this other stuff we're buying and giving it to the recruits or the new officers or current officers, why aren't we giving them the best equipment? Because, again, there's no drive for it. Yeah. There's no motivation to get equipment that our guys need. And I'm just like this. These are a lot of little things internally that I'm like, that's done with.
Yeah.
If it's officers want it, they need it, and we can show that. I'm not going to say, oh, we all need Oakley glasses. Nothing against Oakley. Love Oakley. But if it's reasonable, it works, why not?
Yeah. And to end this one, and this is what I was trying to see where you're at on this. So the CS gas thing, I'm going back to it, bro.
Yeah, you're all about the gas, man.
Yeah, bro, gas them up. The CS gas thing, it was not in their policies.
Okay.
Right? And it's not something that they were doing.
Okay.
Let's go back to Dallas. I think it was Dallas. Yeah, Dallas Chief, when they had the shooting. Am I saying it right? It's Dallas, right? Dallas PD. I think it was Dallas PD. There was an active shooter. They killed, I want to say, 7 police officers. The guy was barricaded in a garage. And this guy, the chief, not in the policy, said, this guy's not coming out. He already killed and wounded a whole bunch of officers, and he's just targeting officers. We're going to get one of the bomb robots, strap a C4 brick to it, go into the garage and say, do you give up? Or are you going to still... I'm never going to give up. We're going to say, okay, we're going to give you this. Boom, and blew the guy through the wall. So that's not in the policy. But that guy had the cajones to say, this is what it is, and I'll deal with the consequences from the public afterwards.
Of course.
So this is where I'm at, is what I'm trying to get at. It's like CS gas through the window might not have been. But
if it's not in their policy, they're not going to have it.
Right. So you can't.
So how you going to throw like, unless you're like, hey, bring me some CS gas from CS gas store.
With SWAT team.
They had it.
They might have it.
Okay.
They're going to have it.
My understanding was like they didn't have the gas at all.
No. Okay. It's like that wasn't an option on the, well, it's not in the playbook, so we're not. So what I'm saying is,
most people misunderstand. You have to be a critical thinker, and you have to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Like anything else, one of the lessons I remember is when you think about deadly force. Deadly force is not just using your gun and shooting. It could be anything. You could have weapons of opportunity, and that's one of the things that was taught to me. If that means you got to take a pen and you got to stab the guy in the eye, you do what you got to do to survive. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you're in those situations, you have to do what you have to do. You brought up the example of I remember that, with the little robot dude with the C4.
Yeah.
I applaud and commend him because you know what? He took action.
Yeah.
oh, no, let's keep waiting. No, we're not. That's not.
Yeah.
Should have done it sooner, but
yeah.
Hopefully. I don't know the whole circumstance of the situation, but he did it. It was done. That's it. Neutralize the threat.
Okay, so you're with it, is what I'm saying.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
You mentioned it in one of your shows that I saw. One of the shout out to Brady Judge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Grady Judd.
Grady Judd. Sorry, my bad.
But Brady Judd is good too.
We all know who he is.
Yeah, no, he's Polk County Sheriff.
Polk County Sheriff.
Man, when I retire, I'm moving to Polk County. All right.
If I was retired, I would want a sheriff agency like that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's just you play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes.
Yeah.
And I'm like this. There is no reason why an individual should ever raise a gun at a police officer.
Yeah.
That is not, no
Yeah.
bueno. You want to find out? You're going to find out.
Okay.
So shout out to him. His answer that he gave, that why did your deputies, because that's how many bullets they had, I agree.
Yeah.
Here in Miami-Dade, would that be a little bit too aggressive?
Yeah.
I don't think so. It depends on the circumstances. I know that I will be a sheriff that will not take action in a sense where I am not going to arbitrarily just terminate one of my deputies just because it doesn't look good on TV. Unfortunately, the internal affairs part of me will take place. There is a proper investigation that needs to occur. Police officers, just like the general public, have due process. Let's get the entire facts. There's certain other candidates that have support from other individuals that used to just chop heads off, flip tables. You're all fired. Get your job back. That's wrong.
Yeah. Well, and that moves us into the next question, which is accountability for officers. With body-worn cameras, some officers didn't like the fact. Remember, officers hate when change and things stay the same, right?
Of course.
So, but they didn't like the fact that Big Brother's watching. You know that they had a body camera. But the upside of it is that you were able to tell the whole side of the story. So, someone came in with a complaint or a half of a video or the tail end of a situation that happened. And I got it on video. This officer did this. Well, you don't have the entire story, but now body-worn cameras are telling that entire story. And just like you just mentioned about, if there's something that looks ugly and didn't look good, how do you go about navigating that, right? Because one of the reasons why the riots happened in Ferguson, right? They were in Ferguson, they were mobilizing in social media and communicating on social media, and things were happening that Ferguson stayed quiet, and things started boiling and went more and went more and went more, and then the riots happened, right? So if they would have had social media or able to get out something or able to put out a statement or able to, and it was able to get ahead of it, right? How do you balance that, right? Because at one point you don't want to be the guy, he's fired, don't worry, don't riot. And at the other time the officer's like, hey man, I mean, did you even look at the whole thing? And I was acting by policy. I know it doesn't look good.
Yeah, exactly. But
change the policy then. Because this is what I'm
allowed
to do.
It's a policy failure.
So how you plan on handling those situations like that?
Well, with the body-worn cameras in itself, they're a great tool.
Yeah.
The officers didn't like it. I was there when the implementation occurred. I was working in internal affairs when they happened. And you know what we found? At least a good percentage of our officers are doing their job properly. There isn't this hidden agenda. There is not. Are there some bad apples? 100%. But those are things that could get addressed. But by the time they get addressed, it's already been like 6 months since the incident or even a year. Yeah. And if it's criminal, it could even be longer. And that can't happen. The cameras prove a lot. It reminds me of a story of one of the incidents real quick. He calls in saying he's making a complaint on the officer. And I was like, okay, what happened? He says, oh, no, I was on my way to a job interview. And the officer, for no reason, made a U-turn, stopped me, cursed me out, made me miss the interview, and wrote me 3 citations. I was like, okay, well, I'll look into it and everything else, and we'll go from there. So the next thing you know, look through the footage, and as I'm looking through the body-worn camera footage, he's in a tank top, black shorts, flip-flops.
Who's this, the officer?
No, the guy that said was going to a job interview.
Oh, it might have been a lifeguard job interview.
Long story short, he curses out the officer up and down. The officer was totally professional the whole time, said, sir, this and that. Wrote him the 3 citations, and that was it. So when I called him back, I was like, listen, your recollection of the events were not accurate. And then he literally flipped out on me and starts cursing me out on the phone. And I was like, and that's probably why you were cited the citations. And he was just trying to get out of it. And it's like, no, man, listen, that didn't occur. The majority of the cases that we get, the complaints on the officers, a lot of them are unfounded.
Yeah.
And one of the things where it helps the general public, and a lot of times the officers don't realize, because you've been in these situations, I'm sure, something occurs. Hey, what are you doing? Whatever's happening. You mind if I check you? Yeah, man, it's okay. It's good, but listen, it wasn't this and that. You got the consent. You're able to do what you're supposed to do. Later on, they're saying, oh, he illegally searched me. Oh, he did this.
Yeah.
But the camera footage shows, no, you literally said, yeah, man, you could check me.
Yeah.
So they do good, but I want to say now, my gripe, our local state attorney's office, any uniform officer that has a case, if they don't have body-worn camera footage, the state won't prosecute. And I was like, what happened to our oath? What happened to our word of mouth?
Yeah.
It's like no video, no prosecution.
Yeah.
That's wrong. You can't have that, because then that just goes to show that everything has to be recorded. Officers take an oath to uphold the law. It's in the Constitution. We have to be able to believe our officers. They're held to a higher standard. And at the same token, if they are found to be lying or they are not doing what they're supposed to, they will be held accountable. But anything, it's progressive discipline. You just can't be like, hey, it doesn't look good, you're fired.
Yeah.
That doesn't work, because you still have to have that empathy for an individual where, dude, you did wrong, but I know you have a family. You still got to provide for them. Let's do a thorough investigation and let's expedite this.
Yeah.
Because meantime, while you're relieved of duty, it's affecting your retirement. Bigger picture.
Yeah.
You're not working overtime. You're not working off duties. You're not doing stuff. And now that's one less officer that is out on the streets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Currently, I want to say, I'm just going to take a wild guess, we have about 40 or 45 officers relieved of duty within my agency. What is that?
Yeah.
Why haven't those cases been resolved in an expeditious manner?
So and let's be clear, you're saying not those 45 need to be cleared.
Not cleared.
Yeah, they need to be
in a sense, no.
resolved, like either
Resolved.
They-
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I say cleared, is like whatever it is. If they were going to get terminated, they get terminated.
Yeah.
Let's finish those cases. Expedite it.
Yeah.
But there's other things that surround that. I'm not involved in those investigations right now, but I know as sheriff, there will be a speedy trial. There will be whatever it is that has to get done with those cases. And you're not going to be able to BS me on those cases because I investigated those cases.
Yeah.
And I saw how quickly I could handle a case. So you're not going to tell me, oh, we're waiting on this, we're waiting on that. No, man. We move forward, we get it done. I'm a component of the BWCs. They're a great tool, but I think that we could evolve from the BWCs into something better, something more efficient.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is that a little trick you have up your tattoo sleeve? Is that something coming? Because, I mean, to me, I'm thinking, like, what's he talking about? Getting better than the BWCs.
Yeah.
All right, well,
We'll see.
I guess we'll see.
Vote me in. Go to orlyforsheriff.com at ORLY.
There you
Ask
go.
me a question. We'll talk about it. And
So, big crowd out in front. They're pissed. How do you handle it?
where are they? Outside where?
Outside your department right now, and there are more coming. And the news is out there covering it. And there's all because an officer got into a questionable shooting, right? And you have the BWC footage, but there was cell phone footage that shot that's out there. How do you handle this crowd out in front?
Well, if they're coming to our headquarters building, that's not gonna look good. In a sense where if you're there to protest or whatnot, they are going to be moved out and escorted out because you're not going to disrupt, because other people go to that building too for other things. Public records requests, get a report written. You cannot disrupt the regular functions that are occurring. So if we know that it's going to occur, and we've had situations like that where people threaten that they're going to do something or they say they're going to come, and we use our resources accordingly and we set up prior to.
Yeah.
So we know if something's going to happen, we get ahead of it.
Right.
At least I have to credit our department for that. We do that.
Yeah.
We are very good about staying ahead of certain situations. But you address the crowd. You address the individuals. What is right? You can't go wrong if what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. If you know that there's something, you have to address it. But you can't have knee-jerk reactions.
Yeah.
So, but like anything else, you address the public. You talk to them and you advise them. It's an open investigation. Once that's been concluded, we will give you more. That's it.
I don't want to hear that shit. Your officer needs to be fired right now or we're going to tear this place up.
Are you currently threatening that you're going to do something? Because that's a violation of the law. It's one of those.
We want to hear something now. Forget the action afterwards. I don't want to hear that shit. I want to hear something now. So how do you, like, what do you do?
It's going to be case by case, man, because if it does occur,
Yeah.
and it's one of those where if the situation's in front of you, you talk to them.
Okay.
You have to be able to address whatever it is. You cannot threaten violence because
True. I take that away. That was just me. I was ready to burn this set down.
You got the hot seat really high. You got the set to high.
Yeah, no,
But we had that.
Yeah.
We had that during the BLM riots, during the Antifa
yeah.
BS. And what happened? 3 city cars get burned.
Yeah.
And we said, no, that's not going to happen. We saw multiple videos of Miami police officers getting beat up. I don't. The one that comes to mind is the skateboard.
Oh, yeah. Those guys handled business, though, out there.
They handled business.
They got attacked. They didn't get beat up.
They were attacked.
They were attacked.
I have a way of saying things.
They didn't, I mean, I'm not saying that I work for that agency.
Yeah, of course.
But they handled business that day.
They did handle business.
But they were attacked. And that
lawlessness is not acceptable.
Yeah, it was very California-y.
Very California orchestrated, and not to be
yeah.
a conspiracy theorist,
Yeah.
but the A forms will reflect. And if you want a public record request those, you can. These people did not live here. They were not from Dade County.
Yeah.
They came from other places. So why are we having people from other places come here to stir up things in our county? Miami Dade Police Department said, no, I was out there.
Yeah.
And they were like, nope.
They took care of business.
They took care of business. We were out there. We're like, this is not going to be tolerated.
Yeah.
What's the saying? Don't California my Florida?
Yeah. Yeah, keep that New York stuff in New York.
Exactly.
Well, all right. So thank you. I take it back. I'm not going to burn this place down. All right. And let me take a break because right when we get back from that break, I want to talk about AI and technology and the way that things are moving in society and how it's going to integrate into the police department. How is Sheriff Orly going to put in some AI futuristic stuff in there and get some robot bullies? We'll be right back. Just wanted to take a second to let you know we are broadcasting from Feds Apparel. That's right, Feds Apparel, uniforming America. So if you have any uniform needs or if you need anything, go over, check them out at fedsapparel.com. I even have a little shop on there. You'll see some of my stuff. Scroll down and you'll see me, Nick Off Duty, there. So go check it out, fedsapparel.com. All right, let's get back to the show. Let me get a little water before we start this next. Oh, what's this on the water bottle?
Hey, if my venture fails, I'm going to help you with your thing.
Oh, yeah. So you got a little top secret news on one of the breaks. What do you think about that thing right here? It's pretty good, huh?
Oh, I think it's good.
Yeah,
I can't wait till you crack that egg.
Yeah, we're gonna change policing for the next. I don't know. We're just gonna change policing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I wanted to finish up these scenarios, and one of them we're gonna move towards the technology, and I think technology is happening so fast, so fast, and thanks to AI or at the detriment of AI,
Exactly.
things are happening. And how we can implement technology, what stuff we plan on using in the law enforcement world, especially when Sheriff Orly comes into office. What are his thoughts on some of the things?
That was a mouthful.
Yeah. So
AI.
So AI, technology. Let me get to the specific questions because I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, so technology, AI, and policing. What are your thoughts? Plans to integrate new tech into policing for Miami-Dade. And let me know what we got going on. I don't know if that's pretty much the same thing as I said, but whatever.
I think it is.
Yeah.
So pretty much is this, man. AI, we are far as an agency from getting anywhere near that.
Mm-hmm.
The agency needs to modernize.
Yeah.
We are stuck in the past. I can say not just as when I become Orly for sheriff or when I'm that sheriff, the things that I've already done for my agency. I have modernized our interview rooms. We were stuck in the past. Not to bring up old wounds that the county has dealt with, but everybody remembers when that mother or that evil killed her son in the canal. He was autistic.
Yeah, I remember that.
When that occurred, I was already in homicide. The interview of that subject, in the background, you could hear laughing. And it wasn't anything against the case. It was just typical police officers something is happening, and they're having their side conversations, and things were being talked about.
Were they in the next room?
They were outside of the interview room.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
like,
so
like
they're
somebody's
outside. Interviews occurring.
Yeah.
People are outside.
Yeah.
Things are getting recorded that shouldn't have been recorded.
Yeah.
And it sounds very unprofessional and
Absolutely
no bueno.
Yeah.
So it's like a little bit of a black eye on the department, and technologies were failing. So one of the initiatives that I took was I need to upgrade, and I fought this through. We needed to upgrade our interview rooms.
Yeah.
So it was a simple project that I was like, you know what? It's needed. Let's get the best technology that we have. Researched it, started that program, started that project. Next thing you know, I'm asked and I'm tasked, hey, you need to upgrade the rest of our criminal investigations division, which included our special victims bureau, our robbery, organized crime, all the different bureaus that we currently have.
Yeah.
To modernize those interview rooms, because I'm not sure how it is in some other places, but one place has one technology, this other place has other technology, and that doesn't work. We need to be uniform across the board. So, long story short, modernized it, got it squared away, went forward. Last year in February, I was tasked with, they're like, hey, when are you going to spend the rest of the money we got you? And I was like, what do you mean? We got you an additional $2 million. So I had a capital project to upgrade the rest of the agency to have the same interview rooms and everything else. Awesome technology implemented, modernized it, great tools. So if I was able to do that as a sergeant, imagine what I could do for the agency and the community as your sheriff. Something as simple as that, because I was able to cut through the BS and say this is what was needed. And it was occurring, to go further back in time, right when Surfside occurred. I was there when Surfside was occurring, and it's an experience that you can't take away. It was horrible. Do you know when I stopped working Surfside? Because most people say that Surfside ended once they cleaned it up and everything was done. I stopped working Surfside February 6th of 2023.
How much time has passed since the actual incident?
That happened June of 2021.
So in February 23 is when you stopped working on it. So a couple years after that. So I had already created my task force. I had already been dealing with all these different things, but I was in the background dealing with that, with the private investigation that was being done, went coordinating a lot of the different efforts within the debris removal from one location to another, because that's an ongoing investigation that has not stopped. So since it occurred till February of 23, I was working on that. And that was a major task. Because I know there was a challenge out there to say, oh, where were you working during this time? When I put my next video out, it'll address some of these things. But I know that I worked Surfside from the moment it started till years later. So you're about to put out some tea.
Oh, buddy.
So where can they find you? Because you've been talking about the website. What about social media? Instagrams is
my Instagram is Orly for Sheriff, and on Facebook, same thing, Orly for Sheriff. Any direct questions you want to ask, you could go ahead and check out my social medias there. You could slide into my DMs or send me a quick little message for those of you that don't understand what I just said.
See, and I like how you're remember the old and the young.
See, we're there, man. And that's what you need. You need a modern sheriff.
Okay, and then back to the modernizing stuff.
So modernizing. When the incident occurred, I'm sure you're familiar with the documentation for federal aid when it comes with FEMA, and all those forms. Just a simple approach on that. I was like, most agencies handwrite their things. I digitized it. A simple digitalization of the documents was a fast approach, because just because you're working and it's a tragic event, you still got to get paid. I was able to facilitate that across an entire bureau. Hundreds of people were able to get properly paid and got their hours documented correctly. Additionally, everybody started thinking, what happened with September 11? And I got the backlash to document, because people were initially, when they responded, there's a lot of things that were burning, chemicals, gases, all this stuff in the air. And now you have officers, first responders, anybody responding to this incident and being exposed to these chemicals and airborne whatevers that are out there. I wanted to make sure, listen, everything has to deal with documentation. I wrote exposures, or I had my team get exposures done for everybody. I was told not to do it. And I said, no, because they were trying to implement something else and whatnot. And I was like, no, this is what we currently have in place. This is what we need to do. And I'm going to do that because I'm looking out for our people. If you don't like it, too bad.
So explain real quick, what is an exposure? Because I know what you're talking about. Maybe the person behind.
So when you get exposed, it could either be chemical, blood, urine, saliva from another individual. So if you have an open wound or whatnot and that exposure occurs to you, it's a work-related injury that you sustained on duty. Nothing may happen right there and then, but later on, something might develop. And we saw that in September 11, where a lot of these first responders years later developed lung cancer and developed all these other things. And I'm not sure of the outcomes, but I want to say the agency did not want to cover them. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. And you remember the past as you live in the present to change the outcome of your future. So I was there. I had an opportunity to do something, and I did it. And you know what happened? Some people jumped on my bandwagon from the upper command. They're like, oh, make sure I get one written too. I was like, no problem. So got those things documented and went forward from there. It's still the AI question. Before we get to those little robots, little R2-D2s, we can't get there until we modernize a lot of basic things within our agency. The agency is behind. There's a lot of bureaucracy. But one of the things that I learned was when things are occurring, a lot of these procedures get set aside, and we were able to accomplish a lot of things, and we were able to provide those services to the people of Surfside because it was just tragic. But we should be able to do that all the time. So the interview room project occurred, and I also, once that was done, was able to file for certain monies. I had created my hate crimes task force. The whole name was the Hate Crimes and Elderly Exploitation Task Force because our elderly are victims so often, and we forget them. They're the most vulnerable, our elderly and our children. Meanwhile, while I was there with my unit, I filed for a humble grant. I ended up going through the Department of Justice, did my thing, worked with our grant writer, and I humbly took the approach of applying for $400,000 so we could provide that service, training, education, investigations, the whole 9 yards, equipment, whatever it was. Once everything was said and done, we got a response. We got approved. They didn't give us $400,000. Because of my resume and everything that I had done for the agency and for the community, they awarded us 4 times the amount. They gave us $1.6 million to continue our efforts against hate crimes.
Thank you for doing the math because I was about to whip up my calculator. Yeah, that's good, man.
That's again, me as a sergeant. So it's not so much what am I going to do for the community as a sheriff? What am I currently doing for the community? And that's a question you have to ask, and you can ask yourself or the other candidates. What did you do during your tenure for the community? I know what I've done. And I continue to provide that every single day. I'm not getting credit for certain things, but that's okay.
Well, but you're here to talk about it.
But I'm here to talk about it, and I go forward. I take that humble approach because that's just who I am.
You need to start putting that out there now.
Oh, no, I'm putting it out there.
Yeah, now.
I got little, what I call little gold nuggets, little silver bullets. Like, pew, pew. Real slow.
Hey, follow him for the tea. He's going to give out all the tea.
Exactly.
All right. And then this has something to do with technology.
Yes, of course.
So recently, as recent as I think like a couple weeks ago, we had an AT&T outage.
Yes.
So this AT&T outage affected obviously AT&T customers, but it also affected some police departments in their call centers where they weren't able to receive 911 emergency calls. You got something? You got feedback?
No,
okay, your ears. You need to breathe. So, but like I was saying, is they affected some 911 emergency calls. They were down for a short period of time, and then they were back up. With everything going on, I think recently the Facebook and Instagram was down, and then there's been some conspiracy theory talks about. They're going to attack the power grid, or God forbid something like that is to happen where there's something preventing somebody from communicating. How do you go about as Sheriff Orly? How are we going to provide that emergency service to somebody? And now it can also be like in hurricane situations.
And that's happened before,
right? So how do you go about handling that?
Tell everybody to go to Home Depot and get some fire starters and smoke signals. No. Those situations occur. I was affected by the AT&T blackout. I was I was in New Jersey for my grandfather's funeral, and my phone wasn't working. And my team was FaceTiming me. And
Yeah.
I was like, why are you guys bothering me?
Yeah.
I'm on bereavement.
Yeah.
I'm like, the campaign can wait. And then they're like, no, Orly, this is what's going on, this and that. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought they were full of it. But the next thing you know, it kept on. And then the service on my partner's phone wasn't working and my sister's wasn't working. I'm like, okay, this is something serious. And then they're like, no, they think it's a national thing and whatnot.
Yeah.
For emergency responders, we have our phones, but it was an AT&T thing. If somebody had a different service provider, it was working.
Yeah.
So thank goodness it's not.
T-Mobile. Shout out T-Mobile. Way to keep us strong.
Hey, T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Had you before, but now I'm an AT&T guy.
All right.
We'll see what happens.
How's that working out?
Oh, we had a blackout. I haven't complained yet.
Yeah.
When I'm sheriff, I'll address it.
There you go.
So our emergency service does not do the cell phone thing.
Yeah.
We have our radio frequencies, our communication center, and everything else. We have had those instances where our radios have gone down. There is a backup system to that. So, but how do the people communicate?
Yeah.
So before I go into that real quick, how funny how we were all tied into these phones.
Yeah.
When you're going through people that have had a death in the family, they will understand this. When you're going through the loss of a loved one, you're not thinking straight.
No.
You think you are, and I said it myself, I missed my mortgage payment. I did a wrong credit card balance transfer. I did all sorts of errors, and it was because I wasn't 100% on my game because of the loss of my family member. So I tried to fix it, and I couldn't. Got on the Wi-Fi, transferred money from one account to the other. Oh, I can't transfer it until you verify the PIN that's going to be text message to your phone.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
But thank God I had other means of funds and everything else, and I was able to secure that. So
Was AT&T, did they pick up the bill? They should have picked up the mortgage for that.
they should have.
Yeah.
No, I called, but my mortgage company understood. They were like, "Oh, we're sorry for your losses and that. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine." Whatever late fee was there, they waived it. So, and it's like the first time it happens to me in like ever.
Yeah.
Mortgage is super important. Pay your bills.
True. 100%. I don't mess
So
with
yeah, you can't do that. That's literally a savings. So when those incidents occur, if it does occur again, and our officers are out there, we know that let's go hurricane.
Yeah.
Or if it's one of those where there's an outage, increase the amount of officers that are out there.
Yeah.
Make sure that they're out there with their lights on. Remove anybody that's in investigative services and add those uniforms out there. Put them in uniform, get them out there, have them at different posts, and try to get the message out there through social media, through WhatsApp, through whatever means to let them know if you're having an emergency and you can't reach the police, these are the locations where certain police officers are. Let your neighbors know, spread the word. Make those community contacts, talk to people. Hey, listen, is everything okay? If it's just an outage of cell phones, we'll be able to, because if it's just one, but now if it's all the networks and everything else, I'm sure there's going to be other things that are occurring that we're going to have to address.
Yeah.
But communication is paramount. You will try to mitigate that as much as you can or handle it as best as you can with the resources that you have. And if it's one of those where we know that something was a higher crime area, door to door, talk to people. Is everything okay? Is there anything that we could do? Get on our PA systems. Hey, what kind of assistance can we provide you? Is anybody in need of anything?
You want to hear some gangsta stuff?
Oh, boy, tell me.
No, well, and I went up to when Hurricane Michael happened up in the Panhandle, and there was roads that were closed
Completely.
For a couple days because they had to keep cutting to get to wherever this town was. You know what they did to communicate with their members? They got an airplane and got the old school "Will you marry me" signs, and they flew around the community.
There you go.
Man, I mean, you can put that in the pocket, man. When
There you
go
go.
share
That's a
something,
nugget.
God forbid anything ever happens, but they flew around. Or even, what about a blimp? And you put the blimp,
Something.
go to this for information, and then there's water and there's
Supplies, distribution points, and everything else. Yeah.
That's what I was like. That's a critical thinker right there. Somebody's like, get up in the plane because they're in
message out
Panama
there.
City Beach up down. Get up there in the dang plane and fly that message around, man. So that's what.
But that's outside the box thinking, and
Yeah.
you need to have that.
Yeah.
Some individuals, not going to mention any names, but if they don't come up with the idea, that's not a good idea. But then they'll wait a little bit and then they'll implement it themselves. They say, listen, your ego needs to come back to reality, buddy.
If you guys want the tea, make sure you go over to Instagrams. Follow them on Instagrams for all the tea.
Yeah, Orly for sheriff.
That's it.
ORLY.
Okay, I think we're done with those scenarios.
Yeah, man.
I don't think you got canceled. I think you did pretty good
I
there.
think I did pretty good, man. Hopefully, we'll let the community be the judge of that.
Anything you want to finish with? Anyone to add? Maybe we didn't cover.
One thing that I did remember, you mentioned the technology. One of the more recent things that we've implemented is the usage of drones. Drones is not something they've been around for a while, but now being able to use them specifically in our traffic homicide investigations, because when you go to court and you're dealing with, you were talking about those, what's it called, the donuts and the street takeovers, and somebody dies, that has to get investigated. Drones are being used now. Now it's been authorized for our traffic homicide investigators to use drones to get an aerial view. And before, we would have to get our aviation out there, our helicopter to take the investigator out there to take photos of the scene and everything else. Simple drone. Go up there, get a nice visual of what's going on, to be able to prove, hey, this occurred, this is what happened, action, reaction, and everything else. That's that part with the technology. As the department's LGBTQ liaison, I'm the first one, and I was appointed over 3 years ago. And that in itself has to deal with 100% the community. It was something that was needed. I never asked for it, but they gave it to me. And they said, you're the right person for that job because of the way that you handle yourself and the way that you call things out as it is. I'm that type of person, like, what do they say? You call out, I don't know what the color of the elephant is, the pink elephant, the white elephant. I'll call the elephant out in that room.
Oh, okay.
Better analogy.
A spade is spade?
So what?
You call a spade a spade?
Spade is spade.
Yeah, that's right.
I call things out and I say how it is. And sometimes that rubs people the wrong way. And that's needed a lot of times with certain communities, and you just have to sometimes be empathetic or sympathetic with it and go forward with it. So go ahead.
I was going to ask you about the LGBTQ liaison. That is, more agencies are taking or putting an LGBTQ liaison or having that in their department. Can you explain a little bit of some of the duties, some things that you may do you guys get called out to things?
Yeah,
or
there's incidents
just explain a little bit about the position.
So it's one of those where the definition in itself, if somebody was to ask, there is no definition right now in our policies. We're working on that because it needs to be clearly defined. One of the other things that I started with my partners was the South Florida Law Enforcement LGBTQ Coalition. And that coalition in itself, not that they're supporting me or anything else, just saying because we don't get involved in any kind of political things. But we noticed there was that need because there's different agencies. But we all have to be at the same frequency because if something happens in, let's just say, let me think of somebody real quick that doesn't have a liaison. In
an agency that doesn't have a liaison.
Let's just say Hialeah.
Okay.
They don't have a liaison. They do, but we need that real-time information.
So do they or don't they?
They do.
Okay.
They do. So we'll fix that.
An agency that does not have a liaison. How about that? Is that an easy fix?
Hialeah Gardens.
Okay. Oh, the tea.
Yeah.
Oh, Nick on 30% bringing the tea. All right. So
they don't have a liaison for us. So if an incident occurs there, we can't report or advise or know because the community will start asking, what happened here? And we've seen it a lot. A transgender person gets murdered. These individuals got beat up because they're gay. And if we don't have a person there, the agency will be like, oh, we have an incident, but we don't have anything. You have to have a little bit more of that sensibility to be able to understand what occurred and to be able to address it so you could get ahead. Because a lot of times, and you see it on the media, an incident occurs with the LGBTQ community, automatically it's a hate crime. No, it's not. Incidents occur. It just is what it is. Sometimes they are hate motivated or bias based, and that is wrong, and it should never occur. But that's why it's important to collaborate and work and have these relationships with these other agencies. So me as the liaison for the department, there's a lot of time incidents that occur and we get ahead of them. Okay. We've done that plenty of times and it works out. We're currently working on the policies and procedures so that all this could be documented and leave a legacy behind for anybody else that falls into that role. Because the last thing you want to do is certain things are created. We have a bad habit in our agencies. There's policy and then there's practice.
Yeah.
If you don't put it into the books, by the time you're done, that's it. It falls through the cracks. Nobody's going to remember. Oh, I think we used to do that. Oh, gone.
Yeah. When we started the social media unit, we started the unit, so there was nothing.
Yeah.
So we were.
And it's important.
We were ensuring that.
You're memorializing.
The person that comes after us has that playbook.
Yes.
And the rules, and this is what we do because 100%. I might know everything that we do. But the moment somebody comes in, they're like, what do we do? Oh,
Yeah.
here you go, man. Just
Yeah, and then you're already addressing a lot of the headaches that you've gone through so that they don't have to go through that.
So if there's something like a hate crime, you go out or you get called out, or how do you get involved in that? I'm still on the
So when the hate crimes unit was created, yes, if something had occurred, we had a point of contacts in every district, because if you think about it, a hate crime can go in any direction.
Correct.
It could be a burglary. It could be a battery. It could be a robbery. It could be involuntary sexual battery. It could go anywhere.
Graffiti or something.
Graffiti, vandalism, all of it. And it's one of those where you have to have point of contacts everywhere so that information not just get documented because you need it. You're able to show those statistics, because there's a lot of people that believe that hate crimes don't occur, and that's wrong. You should never be we all agree crimes are bad.
Yes.
But it is worse if you have a crime and it is targeted. It is wrong to target people because of their belief, their skin color, who they love, what they practice, their heritage. It's just wrong.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to provide those services to those victims.
Okay.
And a lot of people are afraid to come forward because they feel that, oh, they're not going to address it. They're not going to take it seriously. And no, as an agency and as a sheriff, once I become sheriff and I'm voted in, you guys got to check me out, orlyforsheriff.com.
Man!
We'll be able to get those things in place because it's a national problem. Look what happened in Israel. That is horrifying.
Yeah.
And don't be surprised, and I'm not trying to be the guy that says, oh, the end is near. Incidents like that are going to occur over here.
Yeah.
And it is horrible because look at our southern border, not to go too far, but you have individuals coming in here left and right, and that is wrong. We don't know who they are. Oh, no, here's a $200 check. See you later.
Yeah. It's, man, you're going to keep me up at night. I ponder these thoughts, and I think about this stuff that's happening, and I'm just like, let's just say, are you a prepper? Do you have stuff?
I have stuff.
Your supplies? I don't want to say prepper because it's a supply guy.
Yeah, a supply guy.
I'm a supply guy too.
I don't know.
I bought one of those life straws, right?
Oh, I have one.
Bro, I got a couple of those. All right. So, but hear me out. I live on a lake. Okay. I'm good.
Yeah.
Life straw. Boom.
Yeah.
I don't need to worry about my sergeant at work. He's like, I got these barrels, and I filter the water in here. And I'm like, bro, Life Straw Lake. I'm good for that.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm going after the iguanas, by the way.
Yeah, man, it's meat.
You know what I'm
saying?
Protein. I don't want to put this out there because everyone's gonna take my food supply. I'm going after the iguanas because we don't have chickens. Those are tropical chickens. If anyone knows,
tropical chicken.
That's it. Iguanas.
They're everywhere.
And anything else you want to add? I mean, you came in with the Colombian pin and American.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm a proud Colombian. I was. My parents are from Barranquilla, so I am very proud of my heritage. It's a part of who I am. But I'm also 100% American. Yeah. I was born here, 1776 guy all the way. I believe in the foundation of this nation. I believe in our constitutional rights. And there's people out there that are not for it, and I'm against that. I'm a patriot. I'm a patriot that's educated, experienced, but I'm also humble. So that's my message to the community out there. I will be working with you. I will be understanding. And at the same token, I will hold my guys liable for any wrongdoings that they do. But overall, this is who I am. You want to know more? Check out my website, orlyforsheriff.com. That's ORLY. If you want to ask me any direct questions, you can reach me out on my Facebook or Instagram. I have an X account as well, but nobody really messages me there. So
yeah. I'm thinking about toying with the idea of a debate.
Oh.
What do you think?
Is that one of your little Easter eggs?
That's it. That's something that might be in the works. You in?
Yeah, I'm in, man. You count me in.
Hey, we got one. He's in. All right, well, I want to thank you coming, christening the set.
Thank you, man. I truly appreciate it.
First guest on Nick Off Duty Presents. Hope to have you back in the future.
Thank you, Nick. Truly appreciate it.
Maybe we're going to see you at the debate.
Yes, buddy. Thank you, buddy.
Brother. Thank you.